What is going on, everybody? This is episode 459 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I am here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Today in the studio, we have Ian and Cara. And just name a more iconic duo. I'll wait. I think that we're not going to get a better duo on the show.
That is very true. Introduce yourself. Let everyone know who you are.
I'm Ian Crossland. Happy to be here. Actor, writer, musician, and all-star of Timcast IRL.
And just all-star in general.
Yep, all-star.
Right. Better than being an all-star at Timcast is to be an all-star human being. That's what they tell me.
Hi, I'm Cara. I answer your emails at timcast.com.
How you doing?
Doing great.
Doing good?
Let's do it.
I was downstairs earlier and I looked around and I looked right past you two and I was looking for them. Like, I need them to come up so that I can frame those
hiding
shots.
in the dark?
And they were hiding down there.
I'm seeing some baggy jeans.
Oh yes, they're so
Brett
comfy.
is very disappointed.
It's so comfy.
Not a big fan of baggy jeans?
Not
Get
on
on the
women.
train.
No, I'm not.
So
Call me sexist.
You like baggy
Sexist.
jeans on men?
I have no opinion on jeans on men. I don't care.
Is it just because you like the female form?
Yes, exactly. Thank you. That's perfect.
You're super straight.
Yeah, exactly. This is a discussion we had because me and Sarah, who is normally here on Wednesdays with you, we were talking one night where we were just like we were ragging on baggy women with baggy jeans because I hate it because nowadays they all have the holes in the knees.
Yeah.
And it's very trite. But we were talking about it, and then literally the next day, you gave her a pair, and she wore them, and I was like, was she just like lying? Like I was like, so
Fashion.
she was just, I was like, she just made it up. She was just agreeing with it because I could have swore she said it first.
You young people in your ripped up jeans.
Like I could have swore she said it first.
Not
I'm like, yeah,
respectable.
that does annoy me, but maybe I said it first, and she was just saying it to be nice, and the next day she's like, I'll show him.
That's
the hell
right.
with him.
Or it's like
you.
that jealousy where it's like, I don't have it, so I don't like it. But then once I get it, it's like, well, I liked it all along. I just didn't have it before.
that is very schoolyard. That is something that never goes away. So we got a bunch of stuff to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. But before we get started, would you hit the like button on this video? Would you subscribe to this channel? If you have not done so already, turn the notification bell on so that you can be notified anytime an episode goes live, anytime a segment gets dropped. Also, remember to share the video with your friends. We want more people to come in here, hang out with us Monday through Friday. Also, remember all Super Chats, $20 and over. We will stop this discussion. We will read those Super Chats right then and there. We will then get right back on topic as best we can. And let's get some crisis parties for everyone today, huh? I would like to do that again. So today, we are going to talk about Britney Spears. She's in the news because the other day, we discussed the fact that she was seen dancing around with knives in her kitchen, and it was scaring her dogs. It was scaring people that like dogs. And the cops got called, and it brings back the question that we had before, which is, was Free Britney a mistake? I would wager no. I believe that for the most part, human sovereignty is a thing, but there's also a lot of questions being asked right now. Does a person who acts erratically have a right to be left alone if they're making it a public spectacle? So we will discuss that. We're going to talk about this insane article where apparently Cher hired 4 men to kidnap her son, which is kind of bonkers. We'll get into it. It sounds very
crazier than it is.
Yeah,
though.
But we'll talk about it because it actually speaks to a lot of what they talk about, like people who have to be pulled out of cults and stuff like that. So this is different. This is about seemingly substance abuse. So we're going to talk about that. We are also going to talk about can you explain to everyone what this is? It's an art show, right?
There's a so-called art exhibit that is
modern art.
Yeah, it was created by Marina Abramovic, who you might have heard of before. And basically, in order to go into the art exhibit, you have to squeeze between naked people.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about that. We can.
No one knows what it means. We can just provocative.
We can just talk about art. So we'll do that. We're also going to talk about my favorite story in the last couple of months. There is an anti-glasses influencer who wants you to know that not being able to see is in fact a spiritual problem. So we're going to talk about that and the nature of influencers and what it all means. So we got a bunch of stuff to get into. If you guys are ready, we can just go ahead. Cara, are you ready?
Let's go.
Mary, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Ian, are you ready?
I'm ready, dude.
Let's do this. Okay, first things first. I saw some people mention it in the chat. Harry Potter actor Michael Gambon has passed away, which is very, very sad. He, of course, played Dumbledore in the Harry Potter films after the initial actor had passed away. That is not good, and it feels like a lot of times when these. I made the thing the other day about about David McCallum passing away, and they're aging, they're getting older.
Did he play Dumbledore in
3 through 8, or 3 through the rest of them?
So not the Fantastic Beasts.
No, he might. I don't know if he. I only saw the first Fantastic Beasts.
What was it called? The Secret of Dumbledore.
Yeah. I don't know if
his secret was that he's gay.
They would know because it would be a younger. It would be a younger Dumbledore. Yeah,
Dumbledore?
So he wouldn't be in those. I don't know if he.
I wonder how he felt about getting sexuality swapped.
Do you think that mattered to him?
I don't know. I mean, with the amount of conversation that was generated about it, he had to have been asked what he thought.
Yeah, there a lot of artists paid tribute to him. Since this news came out, a lot of people were talking about loving working with him, and it is good to hear. Given that Hollywood is a place of such crap, where people tend to then come out and crap on actors after they die. That's a thing that happens, right? Like an actor comes out and they're like, oh yeah, the worst of the worst are the ones who come out and like on the day you die start saying something negative about you.
Wait, like what is an example of this?
Oh, who was the guy who was it not Vince Vaughn is still alive. Tom Sizemore, I think this happened to, and a couple of others who passed away, where as soon as they pass away, it doesn't take Twitter very long. Oh, sorry, X. It doesn't take X very long for people to crap on your grave. So it is sad that he's passed on, but a holiday season is coming up, and that means that a lot of people will be watching his work because Harry Potter movies have become synonymous with the holidays.
Christmas movies?
They're not, but every single one of the movies contains a Christmas scene for the most part.
Yeah. Really?
And they were released at the holidays, so therefore they've been considered Christmas movies. So it's kind of weird how that is, right? Like when people argue about whether Die Hard is a Christmas movie or not.
Yeah, I guess technically it is because it happens on Christmas.
Well, also because it's kind of the impetus for the story, right? He's like, it's at a Christmas party. Like you're not going to tell me it's not a Christmas movie if it's happening at a Christmas party or whatever. So that there's a lot of movies like that have Christmas in the background of the theme.
Home Alone.
Yeah. Exactly. That's a perfect example of that. And there was a great meme the other day. It was like during the debates where it says like Donald Trump pushed back on claims that he wasn't the best part of Home Alone 2. Because he was. All right, we got a trailer for you guys to watch. We may have to clip this later if they get mad at us for putting this on here. But this is for a new movie called Argyle, which I'm actually really excited.
I'm looking forward to it. This trailer was really good.
Yeah,
but they kind of got me with the cat.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and watch it here. So let's go ahead.
Yeah,
I want something that looks
and
fun.
original. And there's a cat.
If you like the
they just sold me with the cat.
Yeah. You were very excited every time the cat showed up on screen. But like if you like the original Kingsman movie, which I do, and I do like his work, it looks like a lot of fun. And that's a very, very that had to cost a fortune to get that many known actors in there. I saw Bryan Cranston, I saw Bryce Dallas Howard, I saw Henry Cavill, Dua Lipa. There was a
Dua
bunch of...
Lipa isn't really an actress though.
No, but there's...
So I haven't seen her act before.
Bryan Cranston, and John Cena, who just seems to be in everything these days.
What happens next?
So, I don't know. It looks like a lot of fun to me, and I'm just looking for stuff that's fun. And it comes out in February.
Also, there's a new Disney animated movie that put out a trailer. It's going to theaters in November. It's called Wish, and it's a new Disney princess. And I guess it's what we've kind of been asking for, which is stop race swapping the old Disney princesses and make a new Disney princess who is a minority. So they did that. The trailer basically, we can't show it because we definitely will get a copyright claim, but the trailer shows that there's this king who is able to grant the wishes of his citizens as he sees fit for what is good for the kingdom. And this girl decides that she knows better and everyone should get their wishes. Yeah. And then it all goes to shit and she made a huge mistake. because not everyone can have what they want.
Oh, wow.
So the evil king was right all along. I kind of think that's a good moral lesson for
Chris
kids to
Pine.
learn these days.
Chris Pine plays the king. I'm looking at the cast. This is a Wish you're talking about still? Wish?
Yeah,
Chris
I
Pine
guess
plays
so.
King Magnifico.
Apparently, he had a movie come out recently that it was like his directorial debut.
How was it?
Apparently, it's like the worst. They said it's like one of the worst directing debuts in the history of cinema.
Well, some people are better
Like,
in front of the camera.
I've always loved his work. Well, since the first Star Trek, the first remake.
Were you a fan of the movies?
The first Star Trek, I loved. The remake, first one, I thought was so good. The second one, no, because it looked like the actors. I might have mentioned this on this show before. Yeah. Might have been a different show. The actors, it looked like they were too familiar with each other, that they were having fun on set, and that it just didn't look professional. It didn't feel the second Star Trek remake, Into the Darkness, I think is what it's called. Yeah. And it felt like a frat house. Like it didn't. There was no sense of dread of like, we might all die. It was just like, hey, we're all on set having fun.
That's kind of an issue because of the Marvelification of everything now, where like when superheroes exist, like there's no stakes because they're not the ones at risk. It's regular people that are the ones at risk. So why are superheroes cracking wise when lives are at stake?
Yeah.
Right. Like it's funny because I actually rewatched Captain America: Civil War recently, and they do the scene where they're showing like all the bad stuff that happened in Sokovia. And I'm like, yeah. And if this was basically like a bunch of people die, and I'm like, yeah, but if this was like a scene that they had chosen not to just use as a reference point, but actually show the scene, all of these actors would be making jokes. And then people would be dying, and that doesn't actually make any sense. It does feel like a lot of stakes have been removed from movies and stuff these days in favor of putting comedy in where it doesn't belong.
Scorsese said they're devoid of human emotion.
Exactly.
They got really mad at him for saying that.
Oh, good for him, man. I'd love to work with Martin. Or
speaking of devoid of human emotion, let's talk a little bit about unions. So there's this is really, really sad.
The SAG-AFTRA strike continues.
So Patrick J. Adams, he played Mike Ross on Suits. I love that show for what it is. He posted some throwback pictures of like him on set with like people with like Meghan Markle, who was on the show with him.
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, this story isn't sad. It's just infuriating because he cucked to the strike mob.
It's embarrassing.
So quickly.
It's embarrassing. So he posted these images and then quickly took the images down. And this is his response.
Yes.
He says, "The last couple of days, I foolishly and thoughtlessly let a trip down Suits memory lane distract me from the very real and ongoing fight everyone in SAG-AFTRA continues to wage in its effort to win our membership realistic 21st century compensation and protections. It was an embarrassing oversight for which I'm incredibly sorry. So grateful to those who gently and swiftly course corrected me here, and I look forward to continuing the fight in the days and weeks ahead."
So grateful to those who slapped me on the wrist.
Blink twice if you're
and
okay.
put me in the timeout corner.
It reads like a Taliban letter from like somebody who's been captured.
I'm starting to think that the
Rutledge.
Taliban is friendlier than SAG-AFTRA.
No, there's okay. So
point.
the YouTuber that I always mentioned, Zach from Comics Matter, he would always talk about. He's like, look, I fought in Iraq and Afghanistan. He said, literal terrorists are less awful than SJWs, and I think that in this case, that's kind of the same thing.
No,
he's
it's
like,
true.
He's like, at the very least, they have like their own code. He's like, these people have
we
no
need
code.
to
They're
bring
just
back
evil.
the term SJW.
Yeah, you don't hear it very much.
Whatever happened to that?
That's how it all began.
But,
2017, 2018.
We're gonna bring it back.
He would talk about how he's like literal terrorists were less awful than these people.
Dude, Lord Miles Rutledge is imprisoned by the Taliban right now. He's
not imprisoned. He's like living the life.
Apparently,
it's like a luxury hotel where he orders pizza and plays Xbox all day or something.
That's what I was reading earlier.
He called the oversight he called it an embarrassing oversight and added that he is incredibly sorry. He doesn't actually feel this way. Nobody in this situation actually feels this way. He is being bullied by basically a mafia.
Do you think Meghan Markle is in SAG at this point?
She's probably still a member, yeah. Because she's considering coming back to acting. She also might get that because she appears in documentaries and stuff like that.
True.
She's very likely still in the union, right?
Is she good?
She's fine in that show. So there was actually an episode of the show Castle where she plays a woman who kills two other people, and she's far more believable as
an evil
witch.
Like
and it's an episode of the show where basically 2 women are killed in the, like, as if they're in fairy tales. Like, so one is dressed to look like Snow White, and one is dressed to look like Sleeping Beauty, and one is dressed to look like it's just, that was like the theme of the episode. And at the end, you find out that she was like, she fakes her own attack and kills these 2 other women to cover up like somebody who died in a drunk driving accident, like when she was in her 20s. And I'm like, I totally buy her as evil in this show. She was totally believable in that.
What's up with the strike? I didn't know there was a SAG-AFTRA strike.
So the writer's strike just ended, and the SAG went on strike a little bit after the writer's strike did. So that one is still going on.
Is it the same? They're striking for the same thing? They want more money?
It's partially to do with regulation in regards to artificial intelligence in the industry.
Yeah.
With writing, it has to do with AI being used to replace the writers, you know, like using ChatGPT to help write scripts. With actors, it's more about scanning your likeness and using artificial intelligence to prevent you from being able to be paid for something that.
Oh, awesome. Okay, good.
So
you support it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been talking about.
I mean, that's one I think a lot of people do. That's like one of the few ones that people are get behind, right? Like, even if you think they're all whiners, you're like, look, they shouldn't be able to just scan your face and use you
it's a legitimate
endlessly.
concern that was brought up at the stupidest time ever.
Yeah.
Like, now is not the strategic time to bring up that you're getting replaced by robots. That should have been brought up years ago.
Well, yeah, and they talked about how the writer, like the Directors Guild,
they're almost so annoying to the point where I'm like, I don't care if you get replaced by robots. Tough luck.
Oh well, and you read letters like this where it's very clear that the union scared the crap out of this guy and said, like, you better make an apology and pull this down, or else, when all he did was post a couple of photos on his Instagram.
It's his fault for cucking to them, like.
And they all do, though. But they all end up. So every actor that is like so all of the talk show hosts, right? So not Kimmel, but like Bill Maher, Drew Barrymore, and all of these other daytime talk show hosts or talk show hosts were going to come back without writers.
Yeah, I saw that Bill Maher was.
And they all said they were going to, and every single one of them bent the knee and said, okay, sorry, we're kidding. We're not going to come back. We'll wait until the writer's strike over. And all of the apologies sound the same. Like, they got some very, very nasty letters in the mail, and then they knew that if they didn't do this, they were going to become persona non grata in the industry, and they were essentially scared into apologizing and falling in line. When the average person hears that, they don't think favorably upon the group that's making them do that. Like, not the average. I don't believe that the average person does.
Right.
Right? Like, there was an article written in Deadline today. Valiant Renegade did a really good breakdown of this video talking about why the strike is going to end up blowing up in the face of the writers, basically saying like projects are already being halted and they're already reevaluating what's going to come out, because now they have to pay very close attention to what they green light, because the writers wanted to be able to put they wanted to be able to make sure that there was more writers in the room than the studios wanted. They had all of these, requests.
When you impose all these regulations, it does stifle the opportunities for creativity in general, because they're just going to say yes to less ideas.
But even the comment section on the Deadline article was surprisingly realistic in saying, like, look, this is what you guys had coming to you. Like, you kind of put this on yourself. And I think that the average person who is not a union member looks at somebody who's very clearly who's been threatened into making this apology, because nobody in their right mind believes that somebody posts 3 images of a coworker of theirs from a show that ended in 2019 and thinks they were acting in bad faith or acting as though they were trying to distract from their strike. He was just posting an image because he isn't working right now, and he was nostalgic.
Does that count as promoting it?
Yeah, they would consider it promotion for it, right? So they're saying that
it's still the #1 show on streaming right now, which is crazy.
It makes me think that if they're going to strike, they should private all of the videos on YouTube that are SAG.
Yeah,
every one of them.
Well, like a lot of the actors, like they archived all their social media posts and put on strike till further notice. So basically, they're saying if you don't fall in line and do exactly what we're doing, we're going to threaten you and make it look like you're holding up a newspaper with the date on it with a letter from the Taliban saying do this or else. And how does the average person who works a regular 9-to-5 job read some actor basically kowtowing to these people and sounding terrified as he does it? How do they sympathize with the union? And that's while knowing that
they
you don't
really
support the
need
studios
public
either.
support and public sympathy, do they?
I mean, they should if they want public sentiment on their sides, because eventually they're going to want people to come back to the movies.
Do they want public sentiment on their side? I mean, it doesn't matter. Nobody in the general public is paying attention to the strikes anyway.
I would like to think that
nobody knows what's going on.
I would like to think that they at least would want public sentiment on their side for them to come back to the movies, considering
They've
the
been
average
actively
person.
antagonizing regular people in Hollywood from well before the strikes ever begun. So clearly they don't care about that at all.
And the ones who aren't that way are, but what I'm saying is that the ones who aren't that way, because that's not all actors. That's a lot of them. They're annoying, especially the younger ones are annoying.
I'm pretty satisfied to just like paint them with a broad brush.
But the ones who aren't
they're all
are then,
trash.
but the ones that don't are scared into compliance, because that's part of being in a union
which is
like
almost
this.
worse.
Yeah. So it sucks, and it sucks that he went and bent the knee to them, but that's the way it is. So you can't have fun. You can't post pictures with your friends for fear of taking the eye off the ball from your stupid union negotiations. What's going on with Lorde?
Well, here's another fun police story, isn't it? So Lorde's first album, Pure Heroin, just turned 10 years old. And on the anniversary of this album release, it makes me feel old. But anyway, on the anniversary, she released some merch where she gave thanks to and commemorated a lot of professional friends and colleagues. One of them was Kanye. And she, you know, is basically saying, like, these people helped me get where I am today. And all of her fans are mad at her because she didn't mention Taylor Swift and because she did thank Kanye.
Not because Kanye is a bad person according to the rest of the world?
No, it's exactly that. It's because they think that she specifically is slighting Taylor Swift by not mentioning her in the commemorations, and did mention Kanye.
That's bonkers.
Did Taylor help her get her start, her career going?
I don't think so, but I mean,
don't
it's
see how
just
those
like
two things
she's
connect.
mentioning friends of hers, but at the same time, she also thanked Tumblr and birth control. So I don't know if you really want to be listed among Tumblr and birth control anyway.
There was also that thing the other day where Leslie Jones talked about how she had 3 abortions starting at 18 and thanked it for
starting
allowing her
before 18,
it was
right?
at 18. So she starting at the age of 18, she had 3 abortions, and thanked those abortions for being able to have her career, which, you know, that's Hollywood in a nutshell.
Something to be celebrated.
Thanks,
in their
science.
Kind.
That's it's like I as somebody who is like, it's very demonic to like thank. To be like, oh, I wouldn't have had a career if I hadn't done this.
Anne Hathaway saying abortion is an act of mercy.
Yes, like there's something demonic about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. If you guys follow any influencers from Philadelphia, there is an influencer named Meatball who's got 650,000 subscribers on TikTok and other platforms, who was arrested during the riots the other night after like live streaming rioting.
She was just trying to steal bread from an Apple store. I think that you're judging her too harshly.
Apparently, but she
was just trying to get by and survive in this harsh world.
6 felonies.
Wow.
6 felonies they gave her. And the mayor...
That's surprising.
The mayor of Philadelphia came out and said, like, look, this was criminal behavior to all of these people. And I was very surprised by that.
She does kind of look like a meatball, though. If you look at the mugshot, it's giving meatball. So I'm not surprised by her username.
But what kind of world do we live in now where people just think that you can like go... Like back in the day, you spray painted the security camera so nobody saw you committing the crime.
It's not just that they don't think there's anything wrong with it, but it's like you get celebrated on social media for criminal activity now. I just saw a viral tweet that said... off of the money I've made from boosting, I've been able to buy a house and buy another house for my mom and support myself. And I was like, what is boosting? And it's just slang for shoplifting. And she's bragging about this, and she's like, praise be to God that I didn't ever get caught for that. Like, it's a moral thing to them to steal.
It's interesting because Hollywood for decades has, and I will admit to being fully a fan of the concept of, there's always been the notion of the gentleman criminal, the gentleman thief. the one who he behaves as a kind, gentlemanly, almost professional person, but just happens to choose a career of a life of crime.
It's a con artist,
and in a lot of ways, right? So think about the Gone in 60 Seconds. That's why when you say boosting, that's the first thing I thought of, because that's what they talk about, and it's boosting cars, right? That's where that's where I would have heard that term first. And in this day and age, I think that the media and Hollywood have just kind of brainwashed people into thinking that there's something noble about it, because in the movies it was always like, well, they're stealing from somebody who has enough, therefore it's not a problem. Not realizing that, just because you steal from someone that has money does not mean that doesn't affect other people, right?
Someone just said marry Rob Ian. I don't know if he has anything of value on him right now.
You could steal his cup of water.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
It says police use social media posts to get the precise location of the looters to
Dumb
track them down.
behavior. That was very stupid behavior, Meatball.
Oh yes. Stone Cold Killer in the chat says boosted it myself. Yeah, that's when the kid in Gone 60 Seconds, he steals a car that was already running, and there's a bunch of cocaine in the back of the car, and they're like, why would you do that? But yeah, so if you were to go out and commit these crimes, you have to wonder why someone would feel so untouchable that they could just go and steal something and not expect to get caught if being filmed. But we live in a country now where you can go, and as long as you steal less than $900 worth of stuff in California, they can just walk out. I saw one the other day where they just take a whole clothing rack and just walk it out the store.
Dude.
And also,
they take like valueless things too.
There was one I was going to do
Just for the sake of having the thrill. Yeah.
There was one I was going to have the other day for Cringe of the Day, where these two guys try to steal like a riding lawnmower from out front of a Walmart, and they can't get it into the back of the truck. Like they got one end up, but then they can't get the back of the thing to the end of it. Finally, by the time they get it, the seat just rips off, and the seat of the riding lawnmower rips off, and the guy like runs out, grabs it, tries to throw it back on top of the thing as they're driving away, and the seat just flies up in the air. Yeah. It's a crazy world that we live in now. And they're closing 9 Targets in Portland because people are going out and stealing stuff, and there's no consequences for their actions. So the stores are like, look, we're not going to stay open here. And that's because now we have influencers who go out and make a career out of going and stealing stuff.
Yeah.
It's sad.
I'm so glad that her career was stopped short by the cops.
Well, hopefully she learns the error of her way.
Yeah,
hopefully she
6
learns
felonies.
the error of her ways.
By going to prison?
While they were loitering, I don't know if they had already robbed the store before, she yelled out, "This is what happens when we don't get justice in this city." Like, what in the hell is she talking about?
We get free iPhones instead of
what does that word even mean? People have gone so far beyond like reparations with this breaking and entering and robbing and.
Well, also, I mean, that was the one thing that I saw coming out of 2020, right? Was when it was like a lot of people were saying like rioting is it's the voice of the unheard. And I was like, well, yeah, but what about the small business owner? They don't get a lot of play in this culture these days either. But you're stealing from the small businesses.
Well, what if they said, don't worry, we're only going to steal from Apple stores and Gucci stores?
Even that seems like that. I mean, that's one thing, but it's like they're stealing from large chain grocery stores, and they're like, well, they can afford it. I'm like, yeah, but then they're just going to shut down. Then everyone in that neighborhood who went there to shop, who doesn't drive, is then screwed out of their local. That happened around me, right? Like they ended up closing like the CVS down the road, and a lot of people in that where I was living didn't drive. So they went there all the time, weekly, for their groceries, for their medications. Now you're out of it because some influencer named Meatball made it cool
blame
for people.
Meatball.
I blame Meatball. I do.
Hashtag I blame Meatball.
Did anybody else get arrested at this?
52 people
Wow.
were arrested. Isn't that kind
But
of shocking?
how many of them actually get charged with anything? How many of them actually face consequences
Right.
for what they've done?
If the district
Meatball
attorney-
even likely won't.
No, they'll make an example out of Meatball.
Are they going to make an example of her?
They're like, we need to make a large statement with Meatball. We're going to put Meatball behind bars, and the rest of them, maybe hopefully it'll
Throw
deter.
Meatball into a giant vat of spaghetti.
So
That's her prison cell.
I also saw a video where she was bemoaning gun violence, and It is what it is. The culture is degrading, and I think the fact that we promote it on social media is part of that.
It comes in waves. I think it comes and goes in waves, like Law and Order and chaos, and Law and Order and chaos. And right now, it's like, because you see the chaos comes when Law and Order start, people lose respect for it, and then when the chaos hits, people are like, we need Law and Order. We can't live like this.
Got a $20 super chat from Get123. Clocking in to do the walk of shame for tripping over the Rachel Zegler being fired from Snow White.
Oh, what's up with that? Is that true?
It is not true.
It's not true. And even we got called, like, we start the segment, we're like, we want to start this off by saying, it's not true. And then they're like, clickbait. I'm like, we literally said it at the start of the thing. It says rumor.
Hey, there's no shame in some clickbait. It's an honest day's work.
This says she was replaced by coworker?
She was replaced in Paddington 3, and somehow people ran with that to say that she was getting replaced as Snow White. It's not true at all.
What you said.
It's funny to think about it.
What you said about like it coming back, it coming in waves. Like it'd be interesting to know like how long those periods last, because it feels like maybe it's because we're in it right now, but it feels like it's been going on forever. I was listening to the song April 26, 1992 by Sublime, which is about rioting during the Rodney King riots, right in the early 90s. And it's really interesting because a lot of what he's talking about in that song is the same thing. He talks about he's not stealing bread. He's stealing stuff he wanted but couldn't have, like a guitar amp and a guitar and all this stuff in robbing the liquor store. And it's about people being angry at the police, angry at what's going on. And I think about 92, and it feels like a lifetime ago, but everyone has this idealistic take on the 90s, right? And I think a lot of it has to do with social media. Like, we're more connected now than we ever were before. So if you didn't live in Los Angeles in the 90s, you might have seen it on the national news, but you wouldn't have been inundated with the type of content you're seeing now. When what happened with George Floyd, everyone saw that. People, not just people who lived in Minnesota, everyone who had a Facebook account saw it live. So it's just, I think that maybe the periods of unrest last longer because we're exposed to it more frequently.
I think a lot of the animus behind rioting and looting is really just about the cost of living right now, not about justice or reparations or any of these complex social issues that I'm sure the rioters and looters have no understanding of. It's just about the fact that
just know it's
people
expensive.
don't have the things they want, and a lot of them also don't have things that they need, and it's frustrating, and they want to take it out on somebody else who they perceive to have it better than them.
Yep. All right.
Maybe these issues should have been discussed at the GOP debates last night.
They could have done this with Vivek.
Ian and I had the honor of reacting live to the GOP debates last night.
Terrible.
And it was a whole mess. But I noticed that Vivek Ramaswamy gave a shout out to Jake Paul on stage. And he was getting criticized pretty badly for doing that little collab hangout with Jake Paul.
But why?
Getting
Because it was on
friendly
TikTok?
with influencers on TikTok, which is the evil China app. And
Unfortunately, the GOP will never realize that they're never going to be cool. Did you see the people protesting outside of like Mitch McConnell? Like, it says Mitch McConnell hates Gen Z. I'm like, Mitch McConnell doesn't even know where he is.
he doesn't even know what Gen Z is.
He's
never heard of that.
My favorite meme now is the one where it says like, it's the picture of Mitch McConnell. It says like the Olive Garden waiter with the Parmesan cheese telling me when to stop.
Yeah.
Tell me when to stop.
It's like a mountain of cheese.
Yeah, it's Mitch McConnell. Like, but the reason they lose is because they won't, get involved in a lot of ways with Gen Z, and when they try, it's cringe.
I think you got to loosen up on drugs if you want to be cool with Gen Z, man. You just got to loosen up on drugs. Like, people that are afraid of psychedelics are just so lame.
Well, Vivek was speaking very, very strongly about the mental health crisis among young people and about the way that they're accessing drugs through social media, and a lot of the time that leads to deaths, like tragic deaths that should never happen. But anyway, Jake Paul, I was looking on his Twitter immediately for his response to this. He did tweet out, Vivek is right. If he or any other president wants to beat Trump or Biden, they need the youth. It might be a shock to y'all that most 18 to 28-year-olds don't use this platform, X, or let alone care about politics. We need our youth to vote and to identify with a president. How does the youth, who mainly uses socials to interact, identify with a president who isn't personally operating their social and is relatable to them? I want my audience to understand the importance of this election. Furthermore, after launching TikTok, in just 2 weeks, it now has become Vivek's most viewed platform. I'm the most followed American athlete on TikTok and command legions of American fans to engage and enact. Someone can be an amazing candidate with amazing policies, but if they can't get into office, it doesn't matter.
There was Gavin Newsom said that Taylor Swift is going to be uniquely influential in this election cycle. You need
Even
to be
just
able
hearing
to,
that sentence makes me wither.
Yeah, yeah. Like, but the sad fact is that the youth, they don't really care about the politics, about the policy. They care about slogans that sound good and the idea that you're going to push ideas that they like, right? Like, they don't want to hear what the actual policies you have on climate change are. They just want to hear that you're going to do something about it, and they want to hear it on a platform they're watching. And that's TikTok.
He also, Jake Paul made a video with RFK posted to TikTok as well. So he's showing he can reach across the aisle.
Is that this one? Okay, let's watch this. Let's watch this clip here.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yeah, you hold it down and then we'd like take breaks. Yes.
No.
Yeah. So then you just stop.
It's like he was trying to explain to him how to use the app.
He's explaining to Grandpa how to FaceTime. That was worse for RFK than if he had never done that at all.
It's like the one where it's like the guy where it's like I look like a scientist, or I look like an engineer every time I change my parents' TV from HDMI 1 to
Jake Paul
HDMI 2.
says, I'm teaching underdog presidential candidates how to use TikTok because they need the youth to beat the big dogs. Is it important for these candidates to be active on TikTok?
Do you think so?
I think they'd be a little foolish not to.
Yeah, you might as well. I mean,
you're not going to single-handedly defeat China by not having a TikTok account.
Yeah, that's like winning the culture wars, the willingness to use tools created by your enemy.
Yeah. I can kind of appreciate Jake Paul like wanting to get them invested while talking to multiple people from like, it's not like what's his name, the hairy dude who just wants you, who's just a
Harry
weird
Sisson.
Yeah, he's like
Harry
he's trying to get you to get involved and not tell you necessarily who to vote for. He's just saying like, look, I'm influential in the culture. For he's like one of the most, like he said, I'm the most followed athlete in America on TikTok. He's obviously been very, very successful on YouTube and moved beyond that. I think it would be silly for these politicians to not at least try. Now, I will understand why they would be scared to, because most of the time when they do try to appeal to the youths, it comes off really, really cringy and really, really bad.
Just like Jake Paul's video with Vivek, where they're like doing the little TikTok dance.
Yes.
That got you the most. You were like the most upset by that of anyone I knew.
I hated it.
It's like when Biden says he calls LL Cool J boy, like it's not unique to just Republicans being bad with the youth. It's all of them have trouble moving outside their demographic.
To be honest, Gen Z doesn't know who LL Cool J is.
I'm saying that whenever they try to appeal to people outside of politics, they fail.
Yeah.
They fail. So,
yeah.
All right. All right. We have cute. I went and I changed the cringe of the day, Mary. I found a separate cringe.
All right.
Let's do cringe first. It's quick.
Okay.
It's quick. We'll hit you with it quickly. So this says.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Brett,
Oh boy.
what is this?
Farrell's full suit has top surgery scars.
No.
He's trans like I am.
Farrell's full suit has top surgery scars. He's trans like I am. It's my favorite feature. Farrell's full
These people need to be institutionalized. I'm saying that in.
I like the Bret Michaels bandana he's wearing.
It's the internet, dude. You never. It used to be NBC, ABC, and CBS. They would never give a platform to this kind of stuff.
No.
And now, any kid can turn on TV and see it. It's so disturbing. This is why we have an FCC. Listen, furry. There's nothing wrong with being a furry, but
a furry with top. I draw the line at a furry with top scars.
Top scars and the removal of the breast, the female breast, is like disturbing. That's not like a glory.
You were
win.
born.
You know
That's
what?
a
This
loss.
is China's fault.
It's like, I'm
It's
telling
the
you.
evil China app, and this is what China is pushing on our kids.
Look, if you were born a female furry, you're always going to be a female furry. If you were born a male furry, you're always.
I don't care if people want to dress in like costumes, but like glorifying
being a furry
surgery
is a
scars.
choice. A bad choice.
Okay. Now that we've
I
done
don't even know what else to say anymore. Like,
Wow.
doesn't even show like you know what
we
it
haven't
was?
even really started the show.
You
and
know
I'm
what it
already...
was? He got the furry costume, and like everyone's just kind of like everyone's kind of like meh.
Yeah.
He's like, what? Nobody finds my furry costume shocking. How else can my furry costume shock people? I know. I'll give it
Open
top stars.
wounds.
Open
How
wounds.
about that?
It's like, and maybe name it. Its name's Feral. He should name it Elliot.
They did that. He's doing that weird thing where he's shuffling his feet, like that awkward, like I'm new on camera kind of thing, where he's shuffling
Ferrell's
his
full
feet
suit
and like
has
kind of
top
like doing that
surgery
thing where he's
scar.
like pointing at himself, like real awkward. Like I guess you would call this virtue signaling, like what he's doing right there, where he's like,
For sure.
"Yo, check out this."
We're soon gonna be part of a generation where nobody will grow up to be awkward on camera because everyone's gonna have cameras shoved in their face their whole
This
lives.
is it. People don't know what's awkward and what's not because there's so much awkward stuff being portrayed as this is what's normal.
Yeah.
And like
oh
bad,
yeah, I didn't think of it like that. Yeah.
when bad acting gets portrayed as like I can this is fine, it's bad. That's a bad state for the human mind. Like we
What's
need
an
to
example of an actor who you think is bad, but Pete gets credited as like it's just him? Like I know people who think that Jeff Goldblum isn't a good actor just because he does the same thing all the time.
I like Jeff Goldblum. I could probably start really railing on a lot of different actors, but I try and be kind of like I want to lift them
Diplomatic.
up. Like I'd rather a bad actor gets better rather than be like they suck.
Well, I wish that you would just insult them.
I don't watch a lot of movies these days because they're so boring, man. There's just so unless they're 100%, unless they're great, they are boring. in my
Argyle
opinion.
looks good, but I agree. Argyle looks good though.
I got halfway through before I had to call it a night. I'm watching a movie called The Covenant from Guy Ritchie. It stars Jake Gyllenhaal and this other actor who's I can't remember the name off the top of my head. He's a newcomer here in America. He's from Iraq. He's from Baghdad, and it takes place in Afghanistan in 2011. And essentially, Jake Gyllenhaal's whole unit gets taken out by like a Taliban insurgency, and then he gets injured, and this guy basically has to just carry him across Afghanistan.
What's it called?
It's called Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. They had to call it Guy Ritchie's The Covenant because there's already a movie called The Covenant.
That's
from
what I
2006.
thought.
Yeah, but it's really, really good. The only reason I remembered it before I started watching it was because he made this like weird post like after the Alec Baldwin debacle on the set of Rust. He's like, we will not be using any type of real gun in our movies. Like we'll use nothing but airsoft guns. And I was like, so when I started watching it, I was watching it critically to see like how realistic they made it. And to be fair, it does look very, very good. Like you wouldn't be able to tell, but it's just funny because I'm just like, you could just also just not hire people that are bad at their jobs.
That too.
And that would be okay. But it's really, really good. I'm going to finish watching it today, but it's quite an intense story where you see this guy, he basically trades in the car that they commandeer because it would be they eventually would run out of gas and has to carry him on a wagon across Afghanistan.
What's that guy's name? Dar Salim.
Yes, he's very good. He's really, really good in the movie. There's like this one scene where he's basically carrying him in the wagon up a hill, and if you've ever like walked for like a long period of time and you're like really, really like physically and emotionally exhausted, it's this scene where he's like the wagon wheel hits a rock and just almost tops him over, and he basically just has to sit down and start crying because it's like he's exhausted, he's tired, he's scared out of his mind, and he just sits down and starts crying because that's what would happen. It's like when you're leaving the house and you're in a hurry and you're having like a really, really bad day, your coat will always get stuck on the door handle. Right, or your wall, or your pant loop, or or if you have a purse, I'm sure, right? Like it only happens when you're having a shitty day.
Always.
But like I was watching it and I really, really felt it, and I actually stopped watching it because I was getting really, really tired and I didn't want to like not really take in what I was watching.
They're wanting you to take the furry off screen.
Oh, well, fine. I guess if you guys can't handle it, that's too
much.
That's okay.
I can't handle it.
All right, guys, let's go to Cute of the Day then, shall we? This one is from Pigtaku OG on Twitter. Oh, sorry, X. Says, Brett, hashtag PCC Pets. All right, let's try this again. 2 of 5. This is the 3-legged trash panda known as Lelouch. Found him in a McDonald's parking lot 2 years ago at 6 weeks old, weighing under 1 pound.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh.
Looks
Now I have to be suspicious if any of them are furries. Oh, that little arm cast.
He looks like he just saw that furry off screen. He's like, what the hell is that thing? It's disgusting.
So cute.
This is Lelouch.
Lelouch. Look at those eyes. All right, let's do one more here.
Kind of like a bat.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, this is from Half-Baked Treehouse. He says, my wife's baby boy Zeus has been having quite a go of it. First, mommy brings in this weird mustachioed creep. Then he loses 2 of his best friends. To be fair, we brought him back cool stuff from our honeymoon. Oh, that is adorable.
Mm-hmm.
Aww.
Oh, yes.
That one's great. That one is great.
Sometimes I wonder if animals actually like their toys.
Think so?
I don't think they do.
Or they tear like the squeaky part out of it.
They're just gonna pick something that's not a toy to destroy anyway.
That is very common.
Every time.
So there's a box that Bocus sits on in here that it's got the same part that
Bocus
he's been
comes up here?
no, like downstairs,
Okay.
it's got the same part of that cardboard box that he's been destroying for like the last month or two.
Yeah.
Where he stretches.
Remember when
and he goes,
Leah was up here during episode 400 and was traumatized?
the
By
sound.
Funny guns.
The guns, yeah.
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 Oh, no.
Yeah.
Poor
He's-
little guy.
He's never been the same. Back in Nam.
Yeah.
He probably still thinks about
He
it.
remembers in slow motion.
I
Exactly.
definitely still think about it.
They'll make a movie about it someday. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. Now that we are 50 minutes, is that a record? We're 50 minutes in, Mary?
No, it's not a record.
What's-
We've definitely gone longer.
what's-
I think we've been over an hour by the time we actually start the show before.
Start the show. Yes. All right, Mary, tell us what's going on with Britney Spears.
So Britney recently posted a video of herself in her kitchen dancing around. That's nothing new for her. But this time she was holding 2 knives in her hands and clashing them together and waving them around dangerously close to her pet dogs. A lot of people were in the comments very worried about her safety. Some people noticed that in one video she seemed to have a cut on her leg, and in another video she had a bandage around one of her arms. And I did notice in another video she posted that there was seemingly a kind of scratch or laceration on her arm. And it's all very worrying, especially with the information that she does have this sick fascination with knives and keeps them under her pillow at night, and it's sort of out of a paranoia. So she posted this video where she's dancing around with knives. Do you want to show it for us here?
Also in the chat, P. Tran says she said they were fake knives. You can hear
She
them.
said they were
They
fake.
are not fake
When
knives.
she clashed them together, they were definitely made of metal. So I don't know what else there is to say about it. She's clearly lying. Hey. Yeah. And this is her usual shtick, right?
Yes.
She twirls around and she looks dead in the eyes and stuff like that.
Does posting erratic content on the internet warrant a police call from the general public? That's
well,
the
a lot
question.
of people were calling in for wellness checks on her after this was posted, which I think was warranted.
Yeah.
And before she had wellness checks after she deactivated her Instagram, that's stupid. She deactivated her social media, so what?
Yeah.
Like, that's not a reason for concern about her safety. This is, I think, at least a concern about the safety of her pets.
Yeah.
And her too, because of the bandage that was around her arm. It's worrying. So I think, her reaction was righteous indignation. Like, how dare you invade my privacy by calling the cops on me? They did end up visiting her house, but it's like, what did you expect to happen? Millions of people are watching this video where you're acting insane.
Well, it is a question, right? Like with a lot of celebrities, the way I was thinking about it was like they get homes in gated communities because they want basically a facsimile of privacy. You don't really, especially if you're going to make yourself a public figure on social media, she's got the fame regardless, right? She was famous before the age of social media. But if you're going to engage publicly, you kind of give up the right unfortunately, to live a private life. Like, people aren't just going to be able to, stop at wherever you feel comfortable. What you consider comfortable, safe or comfortable is not necessarily what the general public may seem as safe and comfortable.
Maybe she just doesn't know how she
is coming
comes off to people anymore.
Like, and to me, I wouldn't have called the cops or done a wellness check for something like this, but you're reaching millions upon millions of people, all of whom see the world differently.
They
and would
also
have a different interpretation.
Her fans
of this.
believe that they saved her.
Yeah.
Her fans, after the Free Britney movement, like, they believe they're responsible for her now because they freed her from her conservatorship. That's kind of a crazy thing to think about someone you don't know, but they do feel like they have this personal relationship with her and they are responsible for her care in some sense.
That's a weird relationship.
That's really out of line. This was her Instagram post after the cops came to her house. As everyone knows, the police were called to my home based on some prank phone calls. I don't think they were pranks. I love and adore my fans, but this time things went a little too far and my privacy was invaded. The police never entered my home, and when they came to my gate, they quickly realized there was no issue and left immediately. This felt like I was being gaslit and bullied once the incident made it to the news and being portrayed once again in a poor and unfair light by the media. During this time in my life, I truly hope the public and my fans who I care so much about can respect my privacy moving forward.
Like, the thing is, you're not being private.
It's crazy how she's able to formulate such coherent writing in complete sentences, and it makes it seem like she has, like, lucid thought, but she can't possibly be that stable if she's posting videos like this.
She probably spent like 20 minutes formulating that text.
You think?
No, I don't know, but maybe. I think was a kid when she became famous, had total power, never had anyone telling her no. Now she has no idea
I don't know.
what's
I think
right
it would probably
and wrong.
be the opposite for that. I think she was tightly controlled when she was younger in a lot of ways. I think the way we saw it is that she never had a life of her own because she had handlers, and she kind of, like, what they would talk about is stolen youth, right? Like, she was always working.
I imagine she could have fired anyone at any time. So, like, even though they were moving her around, she was paying them to do it.
Yeah.
And, like, so now she doesn't know what's right and wrong. Like, she doesn't know why people even like her. She's trying to relive her glory days. And I want to like her, and I want to even work with her in the future and make a song. But, like,
That'd be sick.
For her to lie and to say that it was a prank, they were prank phone calls and that they weren't real knives is disgusting. Like, you can only pull people so far out of the muck, but if they're like, if she's just destroyed, I don't know.
She's being dishonest, that's for sure. Yeah. Like, we all know those were real knives, and we all know that those phone calls were completely sincere.
And I don't even think the incident, like I said, I don't personally think the incident was a huge deal, other than the fact that maybe, I guess, the dogs could have gotten hurt, and then people
It's funny that all the comments are about being worried about the dogs and not about the human in the video who's clearly struggling.
My interest is more like, what does, like, in a world where everyone should have a right to their own privacy, the realistic approach for celebrities has to be different, where if you don't want people to invade your privacy, you have to choose to not have a public life. But if you do choose to have that public life and the large platform, you're going to have to accept that there is going to be certain incursions from people that may mean well, but are taking it the wrong way. Because what I've learned is that, like, you can't control how people perceive you. You can't. Like, whether it's doing this show on a very, very small scale, whatever it is, you're never going to be able to make the world see you the way you want them to see you. And that's a hell of a thing for somebody like her to have to struggle with.
Has any desire as to, like, how people should see her. She just wants people to see her,
but also to leave her alone, and that's an interesting concept to me. Like, you want to be left alone.
She wants them to see her and keep them at a distance at the same time.
That's how her stage life was, because you'd have your fans screaming, and then you didn't have to listen to their thoughts. Now with social media, you have to tend their ideas.
That's
maybe
weird. Isn't that weird?
Performing again would be good for her.
Yeah. Like, because that puts you in a seat of power. It's an inherently powerful position to be in when you're in front of a bunch of people who have paid money, I'm sure it is, to come and see you. So you get the interaction, you get that. What was the thing that Andrew Schultz did where he talked about, like, comedians. He's like, we want attention. We want to be paid attention to. So we write comedy skits to perform so that we can make you laugh, and then we get our interaction with you, right? It's an exchange between you and the audience. Social media isn't the same type of exchange. And I think for somebody who grew up in a more analog world, when the relationship between fan and celebrity was very, very different, that's a very, very difficult thing to do, especially when your life has been as tumultuous as hers has. It's like asking yourself, what would you rather have? Would you rather have everybody worry about you and then have a couple of people worry too much and something like this happen? Or would you rather have nobody worry about you at all?
Yeah, I think she would just rather that people who actually know her care about her enough.
And I do believe that the conservatorship was a mistake.
I don't necessarily agree. I think that the Free Britney movement was misguided.
Well,
severely.
we've got a chat up,
And
right?
we asked you guys.
We said, was Free Britney a mistake? And right now, 63% say yes. I don't
Free
agree.
Britney, the movement itself was. The argument was this woman should be freed from her conservatorship because she's lucid, responsible for herself, and she's self-aware, and she's able to work and be in charge of her own finances. And I don't think that those things are true.
Yeah.
Those things we've found out from the way that she's publicly acting so erratically, those things are not true. So she should not be in charge of herself as an adult.
I think about her like in her huge mansion, just having everything in life, and why people are driven to go create madness when, like, dude, all you got to do is sit around and meditate, Brit. Like, you got it all now.
Brit.
But she want that adulation. She want to get on camera with a bikini
On
and
a stripper
swing.
pole and everything.
But to be fair, like, she hasn't technically done anything wrong. She hasn't committed a crime. She's just acting erratically. That's not illegal, nor is it a reason to take someone's rights away.
You don't need to do something illegal to warrant a conservatorship.
But she hasn't hurt.
Also, she probably is doing illegal drugs.
But that's in the law has to prove that, though, right? She has to. They would have to
if we're
come
talking
into her
about
house.
likelihood here.
What brought on her conservativeship? What was the impetus?
When was it? What year was it? It was like
Long time ago.
back in like 2003 or something.
But right now, like, posting things on social media, the same thing happened, and these things can be done. And the other reason I err on the side of no for these types of things is, like, these things can be used as weapons. So Jessica, the lady from House and Habit, had CPS called on her by shitty political activists who don't like her opinions on Russell Brand, and there was people trying to do CPS checks on her.
That's obviously a
because they
totally
don't-
different situation.
I'm just saying that when you start, letting people of outside
started
influence,
in 2007, didn't it?
The conservatorship,
conservatorship?
2008. It was
2008.
when she shaved her head, attacked
Yeah.
paparazzi with an umbrella.
I mean, that public meltdown was basically the justification they had for
and then she locked
yeah.
herself in a room with one of her kids
Also-
to avoid handing it over to the dad.
think about this. Somebody called for a welfare check on Britney Spears because she's dancing around with knives. I wonder if anybody called for a welfare check on Furry with the top scars and said, "Hey, you're behaving a little weird." I don't know. Is that outside the realm of what is normal nowadays? So normal is wearing a furry suit with top scars, but not. But dancing around with
It's
knives.
similar.
Is where we draw the
Look
line.
at my self-inflicted wounds. Internet. It's a similar situation, but because it has more.
And it is their
social
and unfortunately
issues
for a lot of
weighing it
people,
down.
I'm sure who would disagree would say that is, but it's their right to do so.
I think it was the knives,
No.
because if she had like a gun, like a 22, and was like cocking it over and over again and like waving it around, she
Dancing
might have
with
had
guns?
might have a similar response.
Is a woman not allowed to dance with guns in her hands
Excuse
on the
me,
internet?
I thought this was America.
I thought this was America.
It's crazy. I don't think that there was a reason to call it. But the thing is, I think the people were well-meaning. I think the people that were checking up on her thought they were acting in her best interest. But we do have an approach here in America where, look, not my business, not my problem.
Yeah.
And I tend to err on that side, right? I don't care enough about somebody who I've never met to then call in a welfare check because they're twirling with knives.
Also,
that's your business.
The making eye contact with the camera was kind of strange when she was banging the knives together.
Yeah.
And,
It's like
looked right at you.
threatening
Yeah.
the person watching
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah, you don't make on stage. You kind of make eye contact with everybody a little bit, but you don't just stare at one person. while you're- because that makes it look crazy.
Yeah.
I just don't.
What did she think was gonna be the response to these videos?
Like nice dancing, like you
Well,
got good skills.
Like
cool knives.
Yeah.
Heart emoji. Like
Look at that
what?
control.
What did you think people were gonna say, Brittany?
I mean,
Happy Halloween.
it is also unfortunately the byproduct of just being that famous and having that many people look at everything you do. It's going to average out to at least one or two people overreacting and taking it too far.
Yeah.
Is she single right now?
Yes,
She's
she
probably
is.
just because
She just got a divorce. Yeah.
So she's going through loneliness, which is why a lot of people, when they're lonely, will reach out to the internet. I've gone through phases like that in my
But it's
life.
weird because even when she was still in the middle of this marriage that was short-lived, she was constantly posting stuff like this.
Yeah.
So
Unhappy marriage.
that relationship wasn't enough for her, and then allegedly she was violent with the guy.
Doll Click is very unhappy with us on this topic, saying she's just dancing.
What
Oh
is
my
it?
God, nobody would have called for the wellness check if she was just dancing without the knives.
Dude, you cannot argue that video was normal behavior. If one of us posted that on Instagram, that would be worrying to everyone who knows us.
I mean,
that is not normal.
The knives make it just dancing bad dance moves, or actually, I have no judgment on whether the dancing is good or not. I'm sure the dancing's fine. Is not inherent to needing a wellness check. Dancing with knives around animals, I wouldn't have called it in, but I get where people are coming from because people want to get involved in other people's business. I'm not saying you're not right. I'm saying that you're acting as if there's nothing here and there's at least something here to talk about. Is all I'm saying.
I think banging the knives together was like cocking the gun.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't cock the gun and you
was
just
like a
had
battle
an airsoft,
cry.
Like the barbecue tongs, you know.
So
They
it's
still look good.
it is what it is. I think for somebody in her situation, it's going to be the unfortunate reality that if you're that famous, you're going to. I mean, this type of stuff happens with celebrities all the time, where they post a picture and people read into it really, really, really far. Remember when Chris Pratt made the post about my wife gave birth to a healthy baby girl, and there's he's saying this because he's not happy with his son that wasn't born healthy, meaning that people are going to overreact and read into it however they please. It says more a lot of the time about the people who are doing the overreacting. I'm just saying that as a famous person, it is a natural byproduct of the fame that you have achieved.
Hand
it's not
signs.
great, but it's what it is.
When people are like, "Did you see the way his fingers looked when he was swinging his arm back in that one picture?" And you're like,
yeah, no, exactly.
He's making the
exactly.
okay sign, and you're like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about?
So it's like where
He's a fascist.
Where do people draw the line on something like this? And everyone's going to have a different interpretation. This topic is quite divisive in the chat. It's kind of interesting.
I kind of love it.
It's kind of interesting
Keep
to see
voting.
how me and Mary fall on different sides of this. I'm just one of those people. Maybe I'm the bad person. I'm just I see a lady dancing with a bunch of knives that are precariously close to hitting a dog. I'm like, not my business. It's just
Okay, but
you do you.
She's putting that out there to
Yeah.
be everyone's business.
Yeah.
So how is it?
That's a huge problem now, right? It's why people get mad. You want to post it on social media, you want all of the adulation, the likes that come with something, but people can't handle the backlash that comes with it. And once you reach a certain level of fame, the type of backlash you get will get progressively more ridiculous. Unfortunately,
I think people
We
are
gotta-
saying that the Sikhs dance with swords. There's sword dancing. That's an actual.
Do they
style
do it
of
next
dance.
to animals?
I doubt it.
And are they professionals?
I doubt that she was really practicing the art of sword dancing
Hmm.
there. But Nathan Koss just said, use the rubber chicken test. If she had rubber chickens in her hands instead of knives, no one would take issue.
They might have more of an issue.
They're like, why are you dancing with rubber chickens? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
How is that a test?
No, I think the knives were-
if she were holding guns in the video, and you thought, what if she was holding rubber chickens? That still wouldn't really be.
What if she fell and stabbed herself
normal.
and got herself with one of the knives? And people are like, well, you know what? She went out doing what she loved. It wasn't our business. There was a story on
point we're at
TMZ. There
now.
was a story on TMZ today about and this is the insane world we live in, where it's like a home video of they've got a camera in their living room, and this guy just left a gun out in the living room, and their baby got a hold of it because these people were insane, and the gun went off. Right? She could have tripped, she could have fallen, and Mary would argue that, I'm assuming what you'd argue is that, look, she's a danger to herself. Somebody needs to check on her. And I would sadly argue, it's not my business what she does. And I don't think either answer is wrong. Mary's might be more moral than mine, but I don't know
just in case you're wondering.
I don't know if I care enough about somebody, but I do think it's interesting to see.
I don't know if I care enough about somebody to care if they die.
Somebody I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I care enough about somebody I don't know.
Okay, but you were just like, oh, look at this celebrity that died today. That's really sad. Like, no, I don't feel sad about that, Brett.
I said it's sad. I didn't say I was sad.
How is it sad? It's
Somebody
sad,
dying.
but you're not sad? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
When somebody died, would I be sad if Britney Spears died? Sure, I guess, but it's not going to stop me from it's not going to stop her from doing her behavior. I'm not going to get involved.
I don't really get the rationale behind that.
There are some things I would, like when I heard my neighbor beating his wife or the girl, I had to call the cops. I couldn't.
Yeah, that's another human
I heard her
being.
screaming and like banging. I was like, I just couldn't sit by. If I knew a mother was leaving a loaded gun on her table with a little kid, I would call the cops because that kid could shoot itself and kill itself on accident because of the mother.
But what makes it your business, so to speak? I mean,
only if I was aware. If I became aware of it somehow through either
so you were
they told
aware of
me
it by hearing it.
Yeah, I heard it through the
You're
wall.
aware of what Britney is doing by her posting it. What's the difference?
If she had actually pointed the knife at herself and like threatened that she was going to hurt herself, I might have taken action.
Chat, double check stream okay?
Is something wrong with the stream?
No, okay, I think we're good. All right, we're good.
Stream on, streamer.
Yep, we're good.
I wasn't too nervous. I was afraid she was going to fall down and cut herself, but it didn't strike me that she wanted in any way to hurt herself. It looked to me like she was performing and enjoying it. The Britney thing.
All right, let's go to Super Chats.
Andrew Jacobs said, "Hi, Mary. Great job on Tim Catholic IRL last night." Thank you.
Was that what it was called? Or wouldn't that have been what it was called if Seamus was on every time?
It was Michael Knowles. It did not turn into Cathcast. I was surprised. We didn't even go there.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Great job last night, Mary and Ian. Sadly, I lost my bet on Chris Christie eating someone to satiate his eternal hunger."
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Brett and Cara.
Well, Cara, yes. Yep.
Oh, Cara says hello.
Yeah.
CJ Rules You said, "Mary, how did they get you to go on IRL? Any DMT?" There was no DMT involved in any of that situation.
Yeah.
Just the endogenous, the DMT your body produces on its own. Your muscles are producing
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, your body makes DMT. That's ayahuasca. There's the way you can take DMT by smoking just straight DMT, or the ayahuasca is where people eat the plant.
Thank you, guys.
And then
hold, please. It's party time.
That's a lot of fun to make, by the way.
Yes.
Carter Banks. So the endogenous is where you'll eat something that'll cause your body to start making it on its own. That's different than taking the substance itself. So you're making endogenous DMT. Technically, you have enough in you to be considered a felony at any given moment.
See? Government getting involved.
Can you extract it?
I don't know.
Could you try?
I'm sure people have tried. I don't know they say the adrenochrome's like oxidized adrenaline, so it's different. It's not DMT at all. But I've heard that people will try and consume youth to become youthful.
I showed Mary pictures of an actress named Jennifer Beals earlier to prove to her that adrenochrome consumption is probably real because she's 59 going on like 25. She looks like a quarter of her age. Her name's Jennifer Beals, and she looks very, very young comparatively.
Really?
Yep. You should check her out.
Johnny Beck sent us a thumbs up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shane H. Wilder said, "A fun action comedy with Sam Jackson and a cat. I'm sold. I'll take 5."
Yeah, see? I'm gonna go see it. It's gonna be great.
It's over 9,000 said, "Seeing Megan Rapinoe throw out the ceremonial first pitch at last night's Mariner game was bad. Hearing the broadcasters praise her completely oblivious to how toxic she really is was worse."
Say that again?
I guess she threw out a first pitch.
Oh, Meghan Markle did?
No, Megan Rapinoe.
Oh, Megan Rapinoe. Oh, yeah.
Rapinoe.
Yeah. I mean,
and they were praising her for it, I guess.
People were saying Jessica Biel. No, Jennifer Biel. Different person. Let's hold off on the rest and we'll come back after the fact.
Okay.
Go ahead and tell us what's going on with Cher.
Cher has been accused of hiring 4 men to kidnap her own adult son. And that story, that headline alone, it sounds crazy The story is not as crazy.
I thought it was a little misleading.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Title was a little misleading.
A little bit because this guy, I mean, her son is in his 40s, right?
Yeah,
Kind of
47.
weird that she is dating somebody 10 years younger than her own son.
Yeah, her
Cher is 77 and her boyfriend is 37.
her future husband could be a stepdad to a guy 10 years older than her.
It's just wrong. It's weird.
It's money.
But anyway, so this was while her son was at an LA hotel with his wife, who he had been separated from for quite a while.
Yes.
And they were trying to reconcile during their wedding anniversary for 12 days. And while they were in the middle of this stay at this hotel, 4 men just broke into the room, said that they came hired by his mother and took him away.
I wonder what documentation they had that's
They didn't have
were-
any, I assume.
Yeah.
And then his wife was just left there having no knowledge of his well-being or whereabouts, she claims.
Yep.
And she went to the court about this, and this is all in the now public court filings that were reported by the Daily Mail. It sounds like he had been staying at the Chateau Marmont in LA for like 6 months, just constantly strung out. He would be passed out on the sidewalk outside the hotel quite often, having the staff pick him up and carry him back in. They were constantly contacting Cher. It's weird for any adult man to be having people call his mom when he's in the middle of seemingly like a mental health crisis or medical emergency, instead of his wife who is staying with him, right?
Yeah.
She's probably tweaking with him.
Cher seems to be an overly involved parent.
She's a helicopter mom.
A helicopter mom of sorts.
Yeah.
She never got along with her son's wife. So that's a little questionable. And she has told his wife that she needs to leave their family home where they were living together, and didn't let her take a lot of her possessions. And this is like a foreign woman from Germany, I believe, right? So she had to leave the country. And seems like Cher is just trying to take total control of her son's life.
Yeah, and for something like this, like if the idea is to get him into rehab, like parents, especially like concerned parents, and especially an overly concerned parent, will go to great lengths to try and, you know, get you out of your current situation and into a situation where they can try to get you help.
It's
the problem
odd,
is
though, because like his upbringing sounds like the opposite. Like she was not involved at all. She sent him off to boarding school when he was 8 years old, and he claims, oh yeah, I started drugs just at about the same time we all do, 11 years old.
Oh my God.
Literally, that's what he said?
Yes. That was from an interview he did in 2014. And I'm sure he was being tongue-in-cheek when he said that.
Heroin
but
at
that's
the age of 11.
crazy. I think he said he started out with weed and ecstasy and quickly escalated into other things. And he did end up becoming addicted to heroin, if he is not currently still addicted.
he also dated Bijou Phillips, who was married to Danny
She's
Masterson.
not good at picking them,
No.
is she?
No. Yeah, so like if you're struggling with addiction and you're having trouble escaping the situation you're in because you can't physically do it because you're so either physically or mentally addicted to what you're doing, the parents that are the most like gung-ho about getting involved and trying to get you out of that might try something like this. They do the same thing in cults where there's people who are hired to remove people from cults to like physically get them out of the situation, and it does amount to what is essentially a form of kidnapping.
Is that when the cult member desires to leave the cult, or is that when they
No,
are
a lot of
being
times they don't
involuntarily
want to.
held?
They don't
there?
want to leave, and the parents
Well,
understand.
Brett, what about their personal sovereignty?
I don't think that they should be doing that either. I think that that's the person's choice. But I'm not a parent, so I can't speak to how I would feel if I was a parent in that situation. I know that when I was at the worst points of my addiction, that it wouldn't have mattered if somebody else tried to remove me from the situation, because until you're ready to do it on your own, it's not going to do anything. You're going to still find yourself back in the same situations. There's a $20 one right there.
One from Omnitravis. How's your hair, Ian? You beautiful man.
I like.
How is your hair?
Feels great from here. How's it look? Thanks for asking.
Yeah, a lot of times these things backfire because when you push on somebody who's not ready to get help, they're going to push back harder. It's like when you tell a kid they can't do something, they're automatically going to be like, well, now I want to do it even more. It's very, very difficult, but I understand the impulse of a parent to try and remove someone from that situation. I saw a lot of people when I was in rehab who were there involuntarily, and from what I've always been told, that the people who are there involuntarily, the success rate on that is lower because they're just not ready to get help in that situation. Now, if they're talking about somebody who's in a violent situation where they're being abused, then we're talking more about something about like what Ian was saying about calling the cops on somebody who was beating, if somebody was beating a woman and calling the cops on them.
Someone asked, is it an intervention or kidnapping legally?
I think legally it falls under kidnapping. I think anytime that you exert force to remove someone from a situation that they don't want to be in when they're an adult, it's a form of kidnapping that would be interpreted by that they would hope that the person would interpret as an intervention because they're not likely to press charges against their family for something like that. And these are all sorts of weird gray areas that it falls under.
Yeah, if those 4 dudes that Cher hired were like, come on, you're coming with us, and he's like, no. And they're like, you're coming with us. And he's like, okay. Yeah. Then it wasn't kidnapping because he agreed to go. If he said okay, if he agreed in any way, then it would be more of an intervention.
Yeah.
In this situation, I think.
Yeah,
Seems like he wasn't notified about it. He had no idea it was happening, and neither did his wife.
And if they informed him ahead of time, he might have left. He might have, wouldn't have opened the door for them. Something like that. It's I empathize with the parents, right, who are seeing a kid destroy themselves. If that indeed was the situation here, which is what it sounds like they're saying, if they're finding him strung out outside of this hotel and stuff like that, that is an impossible situation to be in if you love someone and you see them behaving that way.
It also seems like she's funding his and his wife's lifestyle completely. Yeah. So in a way, she's partially responsible for them and what they do.
Yeah. So, and there is something to be said about the headline being like, though it does fall legally, I feel like it would fall legally under the term kidnapping.
Well, if it's illegal, I haven't seen them or Cher charged with anything for it.
The court filing is saying like that they phrased it as
the wife says
kidnapping.
he's in a lockdown at a treatment facility undisclosed.
Yeah.
Has no idea.
It's unbelievably sad to see.
And this happened in September this year, not last year.
I think for celebrities too, for the people who are the children of celebrities, it's got to be. I mean, that's a pretty famous story, right? Of celebrities who have kids that struggle, with dealing with parents that have a great amount of fame, especially if your mom is somebody who wasn't around much growing up, and that's the way it was.
I thought the Howards did it really well. Bryce Howard. Ron Howard. Yeah. Ron's wife was like, we're not doing the Hollywood thing, man. Let's go.
We just literally watched a trailer with Bryce Howard in it too.
Yeah. She's so great and well-adjusted human. Yeah. And that's because I think a lot of it is Ron and his wife. I think a lot of it's attributed to his wife. I don't know her, but she was less famous, so more, and they just normalized. They lived on a farm, they lived a normal life. Yeah. And I guess Ron would just leave and go work for months at a time. I don't know what the schedule was like. That's a little weird. But he'd bring the kids along with them and stuff. Or
I mean, if you're making Hollywood movies, you can afford to fly back whenever you want.
And Ron's dad would come on set with the Andy Griffith Show when Ron was a kid. Yeah. And so his dad was there every day, would go on set to Andy Griffith to make sure Ron didn't get taken advantage of. He was basically a big part of Ron's life as a child actor. So that family is I think a model of how you would handle.
Crazy that's the only way you can prevent your kid who is in that industry from getting abused
every day
is by actually being there to stop them.
Yeah, in the chat, Dad Bod Baboon says, rehab did nothing for me. I quit using when I decided enough was enough. The biggest move I made was getting rid of all those friends. 20 years sober now. Well, first of all, congratulations on that. And that's a big part of it, right? Like if you're, or think about that, like when you're young and your parents tell you, I don't like these people you're hanging out with. Like how many kids are like, okay, Mom, I'm not going to, or Dad, I'm not going to hang out with these people. No,
that
it's
was
not
me.
really.
I was.
You told you're like, okay, Mom.
He would pour pour gasoline on the ground in his garage and light it on fire. I told my dad, and he's a fireman, and was like, "You're never hanging out with that kid again."
Yeah, I never like that. That never really happened. Fact. That never really happened to me. For me, like I never like all the mistakes I made, all the problems I had was never really like I had people that were involved in it, but I didn't like hang out with them. It was like, if anything, drugs brought out the worst tendencies I have to be more of an isolationist. So it wasn't about hanging out with the wrong people, buying from the wrong people, I suppose. But like I wasn't going out and getting into a bunch of trouble with them. But I had friends that did. They couldn't escape that cycle because the same people would re-enter their lives. And that would happen. And I imagine for somebody like this, he's got endless amounts of people who want to make money off of him, either by selling him drugs or keeping him involved in that. And one of the things that a parent might do is, if you're exasperated and you're trying to find a way out of this, is just like get him into a rehab facility and see what we can do. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but you got to try, right? I can't say that I know how I would react in that situation because I'm not a parent, but I understand the fear and the anger for these types of situations and the need desperately to do something to help them because you love them so much. So
yeah. My parents, I didn't hit like horrible heroin rock bottom, thank God, but like they didn't like grab me and force me into a situation when I was at my low point, but they said, if you want to help yourself, we'll match what you do. If you get a job, we'll give you whatever money you make at the job, we'll give that to you. We'll buy you a car if you get a job. That
incentivizes you to do it on your own.
And I think if they had done nothing, and I'd killed myself, they would regret not trying. And I think Cher's probably going through that. Like, we gotta try. What if she doesn't try and he dies? So like.
Yeah, this is because people they're drawing comparisons to the Britney Spears situation. I don't know if I like the idea of comparing random people on the internet's interest in a celebrity with their own parents' interest in a celebrity. I kind of reject that premise, but I get what you're saying. But it's drugs are an impossibly scary thing to have to go through on your own. It's even worse. Like, I imagine it's even worse. Like what parents go through when you put all of this. Now, I don't know if she was the best mom, the worst mom, I don't know. But I do know that you put all this time into raising a human being, and then to see them throw that potential away and hurt themselves has to be unbelievably painful. So, because I've seen it happen to people, to friends that I care about, right? And that was a lot of it for me, is like, once I got better, once I turned my life around for the most part, I think back now and I feel bad for my dad, and I feel worse for my mom, who didn't really get to see as much of my life after I got it turned around before she passed, the start of it, but not the entirety of it, right? But I feel bad in a lot of ways. So I imagine that what the parent feels has to be worse.
Oh, just putting him through it?
Putting him through it,
yeah.
Like in a lot of ways, and seeing like, it's like, oh, we spent all this money, this time, and we put all this attention into getting you to a certain place in life, and then to see you throw it away. And I wasn't like a kid who acted out. Like that's the scary part. We're not even talking about somebody who like acted out and was like getting into criminal mischief or doing stuff like that. I was just somebody who just got hooked and then couldn't get off, right? Not even the most exciting or tragic of tales, but still unbelievably tragic for the people in that situation. So it's awful.
I used to be pretty hard on my parents and be like, you know, and then I realized at some point they're just like vulnerable humans. You gotta like go easy on those people.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
Well, like there's a lot of like, it's like eventually one day you realize that your parents are winging it just as much as you. When your parents were young, they were winging it just as much as you were in life, right? Like they didn't know, and there's no guidebook, and there's no 100% safe or accurate guidebook on how to raise kids. So they kind of just got to figure it out as they go along as well. So
yeah.
I don't know if I think that the media likes the idea, and we're part of that media. Labeling it kidnapping may be accurate, but maybe not the fairest interpretation of this situation. It's an impossibly painful situation for a parent to have to be in.
Sure.
So, let's go to Super Chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, my favorite part is that Apple has disabled all the stolen devices. Sorry, Meatball, go drink your gallon of marinara.
I mean, yeah, right? Like that. Like the first thing I thought of when they say this stuff about like phones getting stolen, it's like they have to know how to be able to turn all this stuff off.
They're smashing them outside of the store because they don't want to get tracked, but they just are smashing those devices so that no one else can have them.
That's insane. Like, especially considering it's a company like Apple, which will just write it off on the. Like, I'm sure that there's somewhere on the books that says like riots in major cities. They've got a riots in major cities column in the ledger with like
at this point
with a marketplace for like how much are we going to have to sacrifice if we want to have phones sold in New York, Philadelphia, or LA. I guess we'll just have to put some room in the column for the ones that get stolen or the ones that get destroyed.
Mm-hmm. Marco said there should be a game show about looting. What would that be? I don't get it.
What would a game show about looting look like? Like what? Like what would it be like? Okay, like
who can shoplift the most?
It's well, yeah. I mean, wasn't that Mall Madness or what was the? There was the YouTuber who used to do the thing where he's like, you can keep whatever you like. You go into a store and whatever you can get in 60 seconds, you get to keep.
That'd be the first half of the show, but then the second half would be them trying to run away from the cops. The second half would be like, all right, ready, go, and like you got to escape. And if you get caught, you actually get sent to jail.
Or no, it becomes like a strategy. It's like, okay, so like they'll give you like, okay, so theoretically you'd be in this city. You're like, oh, well, do they have horse cops? Do they have cops on foot? Or do they have cops in cop cars? Because it's going to affect what you choose to take.
Yeah, different tunnels.
Yeah, like here you can keep, you have one item and it's like you can have either a lock pick, a bump key, or a brick. Where am I? Like, how am I going to get in? And it's like, yeah, you have to, we can make this, make this show. It'd be great. And it's like only take what is most profitable to sell again, but easiest to carry. Because look, if you're going to steal a big screen TV and you're lugging it behind you while a cop on a horse is chasing after you, you're not going to make it very far. But if you steal an iPhone and you're running from a cop, an iPhone costs as much as some flat screen TVs now. Way better resale value on that one. Let's make that show.
BMF Nate Dogg said maybe she's practicing hibachi, fire on the grill.
I guarantee you somebody has already made that video where they've like green screened her under like with the hibachi grill in front of them.
Yeah.
But even that, you go to the hibachi grill.
She's making the rice volcano.
Ask yourself this. You go to the hibachi grill and you, for the most part, you trust that whoever the hell is doing that is good at his job and doesn't have any lawsuits on the books where like a knife came through and got a guy in the eye. If you came to the hibachi grill and Britney Spears was there wearing nothing but a bathing suit bottom and a shirt up here, and she's doing this.
In general, I would like to see a man doing the hibachi grill and not a woman.
There you go.
I feel like he would have better like coordination, spatial
forearm
awareness.
strength.
Who would be the male version of Britney Spears doing this right now? What, Shia LaBeouf?
No, there's no one.
Who would be the male celebrity who's kind of nutty?
They don't do this stuff.
Chat, who's the male celebrity right now? There's got to be at least one example of a guy who's acting erratically. There it is. I guarantee somebody in the chat will come through for me, so we can.
Okay.
Somebody will come through.
High Voltage 75 said it's not that worrying, but maybe if she takes up indoor fire dancing. Yeah, that would be worrying. Jacob Edler said the conservatorship was the mistake. Steal 2 decades from someone, and you shouldn't be surprised about Arrested Development.
Well, and a lot of it's that they stole a lot of money from her. She got like they did it to rip her off, and she lost a lot of money and a lot of time. Sad.
Carnell said, is it just me, or does anyone else think that Britney would make a better Harley Quinn than Margot Robbie and Lady Gaga?
I
won't even be surprised if girls make Knife Britney costumes for Halloween.
I don't know if this story will be big enough for that, but that'd be hilarious if they did.
Leonardo DiCaprio said, as far as the knives go, the sound of metal does not a real knife make. Ever hear of a prop? Ever hear of a practice blade that isn't sharpened?
Okay. I mean, I guess if she collects knives and has a bunch of I'm going to go with Occam's razor here.
It's becoming increasingly unlikely.
I'm going to go with Occam's razor here.
I'm going with Occam's kitchen knife right now.
It's an actual razor, yes. It's Occam's razor sharp kitchen knife says that they're probably just knives from the block in her kitchen. But you could be right. Let's hold off on the rest and we'll come back after the fact. All right, Mary, tell us what's going on with the art show.
So there was an art exhibit put together by Marina Abramovic that went viral because in order for visitors to enter the exhibit, they have to squeeze between 2 nude models. And the photos and videos from it are incredibly cringy and hard to watch. And it makes you think, like, would it be gay to turn toward the man or away from the man if you're a guy? So it's the female and a male facing each other. You have to squeeze past them. It's a little bit fat phobic if you think about it. Like, what if you're fat and there's not enough space?
Well, do they widen? Like,
I think they're like supposed to not move.
You're supposed to rub against their bodies as
Yes.
you slide
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, couldn't you just go through? Like, could you just put your arms together and go straight through?
I'd be like, excuse me.
But then your hands are
with
gonna.
eye contact. Pardon me.
Like, I like the better idea is that they just push them out of the way like this.
I said I'm going to go there in a dress made of cheese graters. And then other people brought up more clever ideas like a dress made of mouse traps or thumbtacks even.
It says
It's all great stuff, great ideas. The
says-
creativity is more than anything in this art exhibit.
It says between them is space for an average sized body. I would like to know, like, is this BMI? I heard the BMI
Average
is
in France or average in America?
BMI I've heard is racist. I've been
heard
told
that.
that the body mass index is racist and a product of white supremacy, so that plays a role in here. And the entry is so maybe it's average size body in the UK because it's going on in London, right?
Okay.
So Chris Christie is not making it through there.
No, they would be falling over. Art
next year.
reviewers are praising it. The Guardian called it terrifying and vital.
I don't know what makes it terrifying.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be in that position.
Like, I like
personally.
the look on this lady's face.
She's like, help.
Why did I agree to come here? She's like, my boyfriend loves art, but I don't know if this is for me.
I just caught a paragraph. An alternate entrance will be available for
Yeah.
visitors who do not wish to use the naked doorway.
I mean, I wonder if that upsets her. I wonder if, like, did she have to...
Is that part of the exhibit? Is that like you're cowardly if you choose to go through the non-nude model entryway?
It makes fun of you as you come through. It's like,
don't know.
chicken,
But
pussy.
Marina Abramovic has a really bad reputation among a lot of people, but she's friends with a lot of people in Hollywood and allegedly the Podesta family.
Tony Podesta.
There's a
particularly, John
$20 one there from Dave Gazzulli.
Occam's razor sharp kitchen knife is my new favorite, if verbose gaming handle. Also, Ian, I'd like to mail you a crystal. How can I make that happen?
There's a P.O. box on timcast.com.
I believe
Is that active
Let me find out.
anymore? I don't know.
Oh, actually, I don't know if
think
it
we're
is.
grabbing mail from there anymore.
Okay. So there's
Well, I
no
guess
way.
there's no way. Sorry.
You will have to
It's kinda
psychically
terrible.
send it to him.
Yeah.
Will it?
Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
just will it into Ian's pocket. But yeah, Tony Podesta was notably an art collector and a friend of hers who donated to her for her art exhibits. And she's known for spirit cooking parties where a lot of political and Hollywood elites are invited to engage in some questionable occult practices.
The chat is doing exactly what I wanted them to do. They're debating which direction facing and whether it's gay or not.
Is that what she wanted you to ask yourself?
I think that is the strong question. Is like, if you're a guy,
What was the intention behind it?
is if he faces towards the woman, is that straight? Because look, he's facing towards the boobies, but his butt is now going into the crotch of the naked man. I think this is the question
think
she
that
asked.
going to this art exhibit in general is gay in the pejorative sense of the word. Therefore, you're gay no matter what way you face the nude models.
I
Anyone
think
who goes to this exhibit is gay.
you gotta face the woman if you're a guy. You gotta rub your chest right on her boobs. I mean, that's looking at the guy is the weirdest thing. That'd be the weirdest.
Okay, look at the photo here. He's looking at the guy.
Yeah,
he's
that's
like, because
weird.
he's like, look, I don't want to rub
He's
up.
trying to look
Well,
past the guy.
he's not really looking at the guy. He's looking away.
The guy's,
he's
like,
averting
looking
his gaze.
at him.
Honestly, this is proving to be more interesting than I wonder how the models, like, in this Me Too culture that we live in.
Is it a commentary on Me Too?
Do the models have to like sign like an uber super mega anti Me Too contract where they're like, I will not sue no matter how many men rub up against me?
Yeah, probably. Did you see there's another picture if you scroll down a little bit of that girl? She's shorter than the two models, so she can't make eye contact with them.
She just
That's
looks. She
fortunate.
looks angry. She's like, my boyfriend's go to the art exhibit. He said,
Yeah.
it'll be fun. He said.
She looks like she's being taken away. Like,
Or she's turning back, like she's looking back at her boyfriend. She's like, great. Thanks.
you did this.
This is
to
great.
Me.
This is fantastic. And the boyfriend's like, this is gonna be awesome.
Those models are really into it on that second picture. Like
You
they're
think?
looking at each other. They're tight. They're not even like
wonder
against
if-
the wall either. They're pushing that girl. real
Modern
tight.
art is just so stupid.
You know where I bet you they found him? I bet you those are part of those guards that work at Buckingham Palace who aren't allowed to
This
smile.
is a night job.
Yeah, like
wanna
that's
make
where they
some
got
extra
them.
money.
The point of those guards is you're not allowed to touch them.
This is how they fulfill the other end of the spectrum
Yeah.
here. Like they're like, look, you have to look at the other model and you can't laugh, you can't smile, you can't go hoo-hoo if somebody bumps into you. Like you got to just sit there, neutral the whole time. I'm enjoying this discussion. This is way more fun than.
Yeah. So one thing she's known for is in 2010 she sat for 8 hours a day for nearly 3 months at the Museum of Modern Art in New York City for just spectators to walk past.
Yeah.
And this is someone's job.
Yep.
Like
Maria Abramovich.
she's also done art exhibits where she pours what looks to be coagulated blood on the effigy of a small child.
Is that the spirit cooking?
I mean, yes, that's like part of it. I think what she said spirit cooking is if you cook actual food ingredients together with negative emotion like jealousy, and then you eat it.
Oh.
Which sounds like a joke, but to me, I would never get anywhere near a ritual like that because it's clearly a form of like black magic.
Oh, so they would
Yeah, it's
put
charged.
they would intentionally put negative energy into the food?
Yeah.
That
yeah.
sounds
And
black.
there is a photo of her standing next to Lady Gaga, looking down at this nude model that's sitting in a tub of blood. I don't know if it's real blood or fake blood. And I don't know the context of that photo, but she is friends with Lady Gaga and other people in Hollywood and people in politics and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like it was a big deal because during the 2016 or the leading up to the 2016 election, the WikiLeaks were coming out from Clinton emails, and part of it was revealing essentially that she was associated with the Podestas. It says in a bizarre WikiLeaks revelation, Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta was invited to a quote spirit cooking dinner by Marina Abramovic, performance artist, to take part in an occult ritual founded by the Satanist Aleister Crowley.
Ah, Crowley. Haven't heard that name in a while.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is
So
Abramovich.
this spirit cooking involves menstrual blood, semen, and breast milk, other bodily fluids.
Yeah, this is the I don't know if Marina wrote this, but this is spirit cooking from 1996. Quote, mix fresh milk from the breast with fresh milk of the sperm. Drink on earthquake nights. This is like, end quote. I'm not going to read this entire thing.
It's witchcraft. It's essentially
Yeah,
it's
and
witchcraft.
John Podesta was Hillary Clinton's
Campaign manager.
campaign manager,
yeah.
and he works with
And his brother
Biden.
Tony Podesta was a friend of Marina Abramovic.
Tony is notably wild in that circle. People know him as a crazy man, like as a wild
Yeah.
man. So he's friends with this blood. I don't know. I'm not going to call her a blood drinker.
Oh, she's
but they
also
play
been
with blood.
appointed recently by Zelensky as an ambassador for Ukraine.
Yeah, the blood
Isn't
mage.
that weird? Thank you guys.
Thank you.
I want to do more of those. I'll do
Exactly.
something fresh.
Well, we're waiting for Carter. Everyone's really busy right now because of Miami and everything going on, right? That like,
Oh, yeah,
there's
yeah.
supposed to be a Nightcore version coming soon,
Yeah.
which we're hoping for.
Sweet.
Soon is a
Yes.
loose term,
Nightcore,
whenever.
I like
but
it.
it'll happen eventually.
It'll happen. It is interesting that the guy is in like really, really good shape and the woman is just kind
Yeah.
of normal looking.
Was that intentional?
Was that part of the art? I don't know.
His breast looks. I thought it was a woman. I was like, is that a woman? Because that looks like a boob, but it's just a giant pectoral muscle.
Too much tea or steroids one time,
Okay.
probably.
But it got everybody to ask different questions, so I suppose it did its job.
That's stupid. That's not the point of art. Getting people to ask questions. It's not getting anyone to ask questions other than, is it gay if you face a dude's dick? Like, that's not, like, is that the point of art now? Is that really how far we've fallen as a culture? That's the deepest thing that we can think about when we're contemplating art.
It's like, I think our culture is like cloistered. It feels like the fear of, I don't know, the whole talking about sex and porn on the internet, but then the sex is like it's a big part of our culture. It's always been a big part of our culture. But I feel like American culture we were founded by Puritans, and it's kind of like that bleeds through sometimes. But I get it. You don't want to entice kids with nudity and stuff, so you need barriers and benchmarks and stuff. Yeah,
I wonder if like people coming in the other
100% convinced that this chick is a Satanist and a practicing one.
She's a blood mage for sure. I wonder if blood magic and Satanism, they're not the same, but I'm sure they work in interweave.
There is overlap. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody said remember the banana art. Put the banana on the wall and duct tape it to the wall.
Yeah, it's like at this point, art is either just like stupid money laundering or human trafficking fronts. I don't really see it as like a sincere attempt to create.
Yeah, this is art. What we're making right now is a show.
I forgot about this. I actually had this this story the other day. I completely forgot about this. Artist ordered to pay museum back $77,000 after submitting 2 blank canvases under the title "Take the Money and Run."
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I completely forgot.
Well, it almost worked.
Yeah, but according to the judge said no sirree. It says a Danish artist has been ordered to repay a museum after running off with its money upon being commissioned to create a piece of artwork, but instead submitted 2 empty canvases titled "Take the Money and Run." In 2021, Jens Heening was given the equivalent of nearly $84,000 in Danish kroner and euro banknotes by the Kunsten Museum of Arts it says he has been ordered to repay $70,600 and another $11,000 in court fees. He says, "I am shocked, but at the same time, it's exactly what I would have imagined," he told the Danish publication Broadcaster. For its exhibition on labor conditions and money entitled "Work It Out," the museum commissioned him to create 2 of his earlier pieces, which featured banknotes attached to the canvas representing the average annual wage in Denmark and Austria, as well as lending him notes. The museum also paid him $3,900 for the work. When the museum received the completed artworks, they were blank. Yep. Subjective prices, subjectivity of art is apparently not foolproof in court. So.
I think it was funny.
All right, let's go to Super Chats.
Leonardo DiCaprio said, "I throw hand axes around my dogs. They all still have 4 legs. Do I need to have the cops called if I'm using a bow or rifle around the dogs?"
Only if you post it online.
Yeah.
But no.
I just realized I missed a $20 super chat, but I wouldn't have read it anyway. So, thanks for the money, I guess. Take the money and run. Amoeba Art Storm said, "I had to do the same thing once, Ian." I don't know what you're referring to now.
Amoeba Art Storm?
Don't know. T-Bone said, "Shout out to the Discord. You guys should join. We have a show at 6 p.m. Eastern called The Midday Rush, hosted by myself, Fluffy Hobo, and Brian."
Awesome.
Is this a Brian that works here or
a different Brian?
I don't know. Nathan Koss said, "I should explain rubber chicken testing. It's behavior versus the object. If you replace the object with a rubber chicken and it's harmless, then it's a behavior issue, not an issue with the object."
At the end of the day, she's just a famous person, and you're going to get, if you act in a way that is outside of the realm of what the general public considers acceptable, at least one person is going to take issue with it and probably set a complaint. Also, past behavior has to be taken into account. So the fact that she has a past mental health history, whether you think it's justified or not, means that something like this was bound to happen. And she seems to have a problem with it, but I'm sure she'll deal with it as it comes.
Shane H. Wilder said a parent should worry about their child's well-being, but he's married. This should have been addressed with his wife and had her on board first.
Yeah, and we don't know how how stable that relationship was, right? Because they were saying they were trying to reconcile and stuff like that. Also, it depends on whether the Cher actually liked the.
She didn't.
She didn't like the
She
wife.
didn't acknowledge when they got engaged or married, so don't think she was in favor. Shane H. Wilder said a looting game show would be like Supermarket Sweep, but with blunt objects and more broken glass.
See? Be great. We could make that show.
Serenko Productions said if it's fake, then it's not dangerous. What?
About the knives and stuff like that.
But it's like with an eye roll emoji.
Yeah.
I mean,
something can still be dangerous just because.
Oh, yeah. We were shooting a music video last month where I was falling backwards off of a stepladder onto a mattress, and I was hitting my tailbone on the ground. Fake.
Damn.
I wasn't actually falling out of the sky, but very dangerous.
There you go. Let's hold off on the rest. Let's talk about anti-eyeglass influencers, Mary.
There is an influencer named Samantha Lotus. Something tells me that's not her real name.
I love the name.
And she is of the belief that having bad vision is actually a problem that you can solve with your mindset.
It's a spiritual problem.
It's a spiritual problem, she says. She teaches a paid vision masterclass that's basically a 4-hour-long Zoom meeting with PowerPoint slides on the screen. You pay for this, and she will tell you how to fix your vision without any medical intervention needed whatsoever. It's all about your mindset. You need to believe that you can see.
Let's look at the case. She looks like a more
Let's see
like
her pitch.
She looks like if Alexa Bliss looked like kind of just a normal person rather than
she kind of looks like the Ballerina Farm lady.
Here we go. Let's listen to what she has to say.
What's the one thing that your optometrist doesn't want you to know about? The fact that you do not need glasses. That's right, you may have been told that you need glasses, but that's actually a lie. There are mental, emotional, physical, and even spiritual reasons why you may not be seeing. And I'm here to tell you that that can be healed. If you want to learn more, read the comments.
I love the idea that there's like an optometry industrial complex that we're all fighting against. That we all have to worry about getting out of the clutches of big glasses.
She said, we are disempowered in so many ways, and this is no exception. And like anything, that can be healed. I personally have reversed my quote-unquote need for glasses and helped others do it too. Power to the power. So I found a Twitter thread of a woman who actually did go and pay for this masterclass, and she documented her experience with it. She said, I paid $11 for this vision healing masterclass, so you don't have to. This is my Saturday morning cartoons. The first opening slide says, legal disclosure. I am not a pharma doctor or medical advisor. This is for holistic, educational, and empowerment purposes.
Power.
You have to empower your eyes to see. How are our mirrors real if our eyes aren't real? So, I mean, I think there are plenty of real physical explanations for why so many more people in the modern era have bad vision than they did before.
Yeah, computer monitors.
Yeah, like blue light is
light.
in your face for so long since you were born, and even more so for the newer generations. And I'm sure that what we eat has something to do with it. What's chemicals in our water has something to do with it. And
it's the fluoride
there are so
fault.
many factors that we probably have no idea about.
Yeah.
But the problem is you can't go back and change any of that.
Well, I had an experience. There's sun gazing people do.
I wanted to ask you
cultures.
about that. Yeah.
What'll happen is like just sunlight basically on the back of your eye can heal the eye, but you don't want to focus your eye on the sun because it'll burn the retina. So you like kind of ambiently let it in at an angle, and as the sun gets lower to the horizon, it gets bent. The light gets bent, so it hurts your eye less. And it's just thousands of years people have been doing it. And I've had an experience where we were doing photography, headshot photography in Los Angeles, and I was holding the bounce card, bouncing the light into their eyes for like 6 hours. I spent all outside one day, 5 or 6 hours just bouncing light. And all that sunlight in my eyes, I went inside and I had like 20/20 vision. I was like, I can see. And I looked at my computer monitor and I felt my brain like twist closed and my eyesight just twisted back to blurry. And I was like, it was the fucking monitor. The monitor. And it was like 6 hours of healing was undone in like 5 seconds of looking at a monitor. So I don't know. It's just the being around computer monitors, unless we can fix the hertz and make it like sunlight.
Big monitor, big tech, I guess, not big monitor. Big tech is going to prevent you from healing yourself.
Dude, I believe there are probably benefits to sun gazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you look far out, right?
You know those floaty things in the eye? Sometimes you get those, that'll melt those. It'll burn those away.
Like if you're looking at the sun or near the sun.
It feels so good. Just having your head like tilted and like turned and like the sun will be coming in.
No wonder ancient civilizations thought that the sun was God.
For sure.
Like, seems logical to me.
I think that's where spirits go, and they're like, I saw a white light, and I was heading through a tunnel towards a light. I think that light is the sun. I could be wrong. I don't know, but
yeah.
This is not the first person I've heard say this about spiritual.
Do you think
eyesight.
she's a grifter?
I don't know. I had a guy try and heal my eyes by talking me through it in like 2011.
Talking you through it?
Yeah.
How?
He would sit down and he'd be like, close your eyes, visualize, like calm your brain, let your eyes. And I didn't get into it. And he's like, are you not into this? And I was like, I'm not into it.
Hypnotism, essentially?
I think so.
Like you have to convince yourself that you have good vision?
Maybe. I'm less into the mind over matter. I'm more into the physiological transformation from sunlight and lack of computer monitor light.
That was part of her recommendation. Like, get blue light glasses, use like
in my course
blue light filters off your screen, and pay me money for my course where I tell you what you already knew. She also seems to believe you can change the color of your eye, your iris, which is a little out there.
Wow.
I feel like I've heard that before.
This is the second person that's said this stuff in my life. So maybe there's something to it.
She gives a lot of testimonials, like of people who say that this course worked for them. But that's still not teaching you anything. It's just like confirmation bias.
This type of like grifter has existed forever, right? For various types of scams. I mean, you see a lot of these for cancer treatments and stuff like that.
That's even more predatory though, because that's people's lives at stake, and
like placebo's real. The placebo effect, no one really knows why it works, but it's like 10, 20, 30% effective. When you believe that you're healing, your body starts to heal. Not every time, but there's this correlation.
Just long enough for them to escape with your money.
So if this girl can get someone to believe that their eyes are healing, and then they actually heal their own eyes with their own...
Eyes do change color, though. Like people's eye color changes depending on the season and stuff like that. My eyes are hydration.
I don't know if I believe that.
My eyes, I have one hazel eye, and like my eyes are 2 different colors. So like, I mean, it's not. I wouldn't believe that that's uncommon.
Your eye color doesn't change, though.
They go lighter or darker depending on the season.
I wonder if it's
dubious.
Less so now because I'm inside most of the day. I'm not outside as much. But yeah, I mean, this type of scam has existed forever. And like I said, like I imagine it's harder for somebody like this who then they can get back in touch with you. But back in the day, they would do it just long enough and then escape after they got your money.
They're a traveling salesman.
Yeah, basically, right? So
yeah, well, this lady who posted this Twitter thread about taking the course is now getting threatened with legal action by Samantha Lotus. She tweeted an update. She said, apparently I'll be hearing from her lawyers for commentary on her presentation that she has given me lifetime access to. Samantha Lotus DM'd this woman saying, "Hey Mallory, since your posts about Samantha go against intellectual property laws as well as protective regulations against defamation, this is a courtesy message letting you know you have 24 hours to remove your posts before we move forward with legal action. Warm regards, Samantha and team." And then she said, "We have your IP address from where you purchased the private masterclass and screen recorded videos of you sharing the entire masterclass content online. When you purchased, you agreed to the terms even though you didn't use your name to purchase or join the Zoom." She started finding her on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, on every platform, DMing her about this because she doesn't want to get her grift exposed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this doesn't exactly help her case. I'm just saying.
Not just that, but also, Ian, you will like to see that Meta has released smart glasses. And people are actually worried about this because they've got like lenses in the corners.
You need to just believe that your brain can have a search engine on it.
Yes.
You don't need the glasses. You need to just believe that you have access
to
Google.
You do not need Mark Zuckerberg to tell you how to Google things in your brain. You could just do it yourself with the power of belief.
Whatever happened to the Google glasses?
I
thought that was like a thing that was rolling out already.
That was like 10 years ago.
Tim wore them.
Yeah, Tim, I remember him mentioning.
I never liked the way they looked.
What was his experience with them? Did they work?
They worked, but I don't know. To be honest, I don't know that I really ever followed up with why he stopped. I think he didn't. Maybe he didn't like the way they looked. They're real obvious. You walk in, you look like a cyborg when you walk in a room.
Well, these here.
These are supposed to be stylish.
They're just Wayfarers. They're Ray-Ban Wayfarers that have capture like they have lenses in the corners.
You want to show us the Mark Zuckerberg video?
Do we have that?
It's in the New York Post article.
Was it down at the bottom?
No.
Or at the top? Oh, here. Right. Yeah, here it is.
The next generation of Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses. These are the first smart glasses that are built
They're a little chunky.
and shipping with Meta AI.
Have you seen the Ray-Ban like headphone glasses?
No.
We've got them
I
here.
might actually have a pair of those.
They're very obvious.
I think you do.
Yeah. They're
Starting
thick.
in the US, you're going to get this state-of-the-art AI that you can interact with hands-free wherever you go. We're going to be issuing a free software update to the glasses that makes them multimodal. So the glasses are going to be able to understand what you're looking at when you ask them questions. So if you want to know what the building is that you're standing in front of, or if you want to translate a sign that's in front of you to know what it's saying.
He's such an alien.
Or if you need help
I'm just picturing it. It's like you've logged out of your Google account. Please log back in. You've logged out of your Google account. Please log back in.
Yeah.
And it just keeps like, you're like, I don't remember my password. My brain doesn't remember my password.
It keeps screenshotting on
like,
accident.
It's like, or like, no, what's going to happen? It's going to be like, pick the cars in the display thing.
This
You're
is
gonna
the
walk
making
right
of a
traffic.
slapstick comedy for sure.
It's gonna, like, pick the cars in front of you, and you're gonna just get hit by a car because you're gonna be walking thinking you're filling out a CAPTCHA form, and you're just gonna get drilled by a Toyota. It's gonna suck.
This sad, leaky faucet. You can basically just talk to Meta AI and look at it, and it'll walk you through it step by step how to do it.
You're gonna look like a total. You know what it is? He wants people to be as not normal as him. So he wants people walking around, interacting with their glasses.
But I mean, if an
not
AI,
acting like normal people.
If an AI is there for you to answer all of your inane questions at all times, how are you ever going to have human interactions? How would you justify having a human interaction, like asking someone what's the temperature today?
What does this sign say?
Yeah, like I don't know, like.
Yeah.
What drinks do you have available at this restaurant? Like, there's no need to ask any person a question anymore.
And I immediately start thinking the AI would tell you this person is lying. Like you're like, is this person telling me the truth or lying to me right now? And it'll be like, that person is lying to you. Don't trust that person.
Yeah, is it gonna do that?
Evil AI will do
it,
that.
It can read people's body language. Be like, this person. There's a
Body
73% chance it is lying.
You're on a date and it's gonna be like, she's not comfortable with you. Just leave.
And
Like,
you'll see, like your
We've
percentage
noticed a
chance
3% increase in perspiration.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that is like her pheromone levels have dropped precipitously. Sorry, she's not interested. You're gonna have to go.
Oh my gosh.
It's not gonna work, guys.
That'll come with better sensors.
Yeah, you'd have to pay for, and plus you'd have to pay for an upgrade for that one. It would have to link to your Tinder.
People, you think people pay $60 a month for that?
Can you use Tinder with your Meta glasses?
Like, yeah, you're just walking around outside, and it's like
swipe with your eye movements.
You look left or you look right, depending on whether you want to go out on a date with that person. That's we're not far off from something like that.
Or you just wave them off. You wave them to the left if you're not interested.
And then what happens if you take them off to clean them? Do they like do the glasses yell at you? Like I said, I went to Target the other day and I realized just like how spoiled we are, where I needed a power strip for my room. And I got there and I'm like, I don't know where this is. There's no search key here. I got to go find it now. So I had to like go look for it at the Target, and it's just not something I've done in a very long time because I just unfortunately get so much stuff off of Amazon where you just hit the button and then it sends it to you. We're very spoiled here. What's going to happen? Like, you're going to go in the Target. It's going to link to the Target website. And you're just going to think, what aisle is this product in? It's going to show up with like a map in the glasses on how to get to that aisle.
Or the robot will bring it to you. That's Home Depot or different big box stores and stuff work on robots driving around the aisles and carrying and moving stuff.
And it's worse too, because I think about like, this is a crazy story, but like when before I moved out here, I hadn't driven a car in 10 years. So the last time I had driven a car, you didn't have it was longer than that. So it was closer to 12 years. So like I didn't have a phone that had like a Google, that had Google Maps at the time. Like you just had to know how to get where the hell you were going, or you had to pay very close attention to the roads. Now you use like a different part of your brain when you're driving, and you've got the comfort of knowing that the phone is going to tell you when to turn, right? You're not actively using your brain as critically as you were when you when you had to actually figure out where you were going on your own, rather than with the phone that's attached to your car telling you how to get there. It's an interesting thing to move somewhere else, because it wouldn't have mattered in Minnesota because I knew how to get around most of the state anyways. But when you're out here, when you move somewhere where you didn't live before, and you have to, be told where to get everywhere, it's not like you looked it up on MapQuest and then had the directions printed out and then almost kill everybody looking down at the map and then back at the thing right there. And a lot of people, like, they don't know how to read maps anyways. Like, I'm not exceptionally good at reading, an actual map. Which breaks my dad's
family trips, man.
Breaks my dad's heart, because my dad worked for the Army Corps of Engineers, so maps and blueprints were a big part of his job. So I'm sure that'll break his heart to hear that. But yeah, like, it's just like the technology is slowly, doing more of our lives for us, rather than us actually engaging with like you said, you're not engaging with the people around you like you would be.
Stop at a gas station, ask for directions, kind of thing.
Like when people go to foreign countries now, like they Google Translate, right? Like back in the day, it's not what you did. You mimed and you figured out what the hell you needed to do to get your message if you didn't speak the language. So I think a lot of it is like people have been sold this idea that technology is going to make the world a better place. And it has in a lot of ways. It may make the world an overall better place. I don't know if it makes us, more better humans. I don't know if it makes us more engaged as human beings. It's weird.
That's an interesting idea.
And Mark Zuckerberg is going to hell.
Yes, he is. Very, very likely true. All right, let's go to Super Chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, no matter which way you turn, it's gay. It all makes sense that the creator would do satanic-ish. I'll stay home and view Catholic iconography.
Wait, what if you stay straight? What if you just stay dead straight? Does that make you bi? Is that bi if you just stay straight, saying you don't pick a preference? I don't know.
What if you just go around them?
You slide through like a baseball player. Like that would have been great if somebody would have just slid through.
Like you
just have to get the angle correct,
just right.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, but what cheek did you slide on? Because whichever person you're facing, that's your preference.
Hiroshima Otaru said, Mary, is it gay is the deepest of questions. I'm sure it is. Saranko Productions said, I use sarcastic case Mary, SMH, LOL. I didn't know it was called that.
And the eye roll emoji.
Shane H. Wilder said, wait, so if I think about it hard enough, I can get rid of my astigmatism? Let me try. Damn it, now there are 3 of y'all.
Hate it when that happens.
Hiroshima Otaru said, I challenge the sun with my eyes.
Perfect. All right, guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video? Would you subscribe to this channel? If you have not done that already, turn the notification bell on so you can get notified anytime we go live. Thank you very much for that. Thank you to everyone. We had a bunch of new subscribers show up yesterday after your appearance on IRL. So thank you guys, everyone who's new here, for coming and joining us. We appreciate it very much. Cara, where can they find you?
They can find me at members@timcast.com. Got any questions? Holler.
And thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, it was great. Sorry I didn't talk all too much, but
it's okay.
Ian, where can they find you?
At Ian Crossland on the internet. You can find me most weeknights, Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Timcast IRL on YouTube. But not tonight. I'm going to take tonight off.
We noticed that iancrossland.net is not active anymore.
Yeah, I'll do that today. Thanks. I was thinking about that yesterday.
We're thinking about it.
I finally got around, we've been doing this show for like over a year and a half now, and I finally got around to making like a master key of like everyone's socials for when we're adding them to the thing. And I added iancrossland.net, and I went to check it, and I was like, it's not
Just
working.
put at Ian Crossland.
There's a $20 one for you, Ian. Leonardo DiCaprio said, Ian, you do games, right? Have you tried Pathfinder, Kingmaker, or Wrath of the Righteous? If you like old school CRPGs with dialogue and skill checks, it can be fun. Put 30 hours into Kingmaker in a month, which is a lot for me.
Yeah, I have Kingmaker. Pathfinder Kingmaker's great. It felt a little rushed with you constantly have to worry about time. You know, I like taking my time. I have Wrath of the Righteous, but I haven't played it yet because I've been playing Baldur's Gate as my isometric CRPG. Well, it's not really CRPG. It's in the style of a classic role-playing game, but it's just a modern role-playing. It's an MRPG. Baldur's Gate 3. But I'm very excited about Wrath of the Righteous. Thanks for asking. I hear good things about it.
All right, Mary, where can they find you?
Well, thank you to all of the people who are new to the channel. If you're watching for the first time, thanks for being here. And if you want to send me a validation on Instagram, that's Mary Archived. If you want to send me hate on Twitter, that is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. All right, guys. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Twix and Instagram at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. Pop Culture Crisis is here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. If you would like to listen to the audio version of this podcast, we're on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. Sadly, Stitcher went out of business, which kind of broke my heart. That was always the audio podcast platform that I always used. It's like I didn't even know audio podcast platforms went out of business, but apparently that's a thing. If you want to follow the show on social media, the show is on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Bye.